All right, we are live, gentlemen. Eh, and cool. Okay. Um, thing. And all right, we are live, gentlemen.
Yeah, I got audio.
All right. Well, let's get this party started.
All right.
Cool. Okay.
No. Sorry.
We don't do that.
That is not how we behave, sir.
It's a 60-second timeout.
Much like the fedora, we get very awkward very quick.
And this is the Schadecast. This is, for all intents and purposes, number 2.
Yeah, it's about to get awkward very quick.
Yeah.
That is very much the motto of the show.
Very much so.
It's a good T-shirt idea. That's a good subtitle. The Shotcast. It's about to get real awkward.
Things are about to get uncomfortable. The very motto of the Schadecast. So this is our second live episode.
Seems to be working.
Yeah, everything seems to be good. I put in a little bit of time to make sure that everything is working as it should. I am nothing if not a lazy perfectionist. Which means I tend to rush to get things perfect, and then they never are. So, like I said, this is the Shotcast, a video game podcast featuring myself. My name is Bo. Over here is Justin McFerrin.
That's me.
And then the other guy on the show, one John C. Dolan.
That might actually be right.
You don't know?
I'm not going to tell you.
All right, fair enough.
You've gotten close before.
And the thing is, I know you've told me.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I don't.
And you know what? And someday when reality is shown to you, it's going to be a huge disappointment.
I think I actually know what it is now that I think about it, and it is disappointing. So
it is. Yeah, it's lame. It's a lame middle name.
Keep the mystery alive for me.
Okay, that's bad. It's just not. It's like, oh,
It's fine.
Your parents weren't very creative with that.
Yeah, your parents had regular names in mind when they named you, and that's probably for the best.
It's my dad's middle name, which makes it even less exciting.
I have my father and I share the same middle name. Like I'm technically a junior.
Yeah, my brother's a junior, but I also have the same middle name as both my older brother and my father, which is weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's really strange. Like I've never met someone else that thing existed. So,
all right,
it's my sad secret pain.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's not so secret anymore. So
or all that painful, really.
Yeah, in fairness, yeah. So guys,
what's up?
We are on the other side of No Man's Sky now. That is a game that exists that can be bought and played.
Mm-hmm.
I am not on the other side of it because you can't buy it and play it on PC yet.
Yeah, I mean, no one cares.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to be a spoiler or nothing, but whatever their reason was to delay it on PC, it's totally worth it.
Totally worth the delay, or totally?
It's totally worth the delay. Whatever it is they're fixing, it's worth it.
Are you saying there's something broken in the PS4 version that is going to be fixed in 3 days?
No.
I think he's saying that it's a really good game, and
I might be saying that.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get into that in a second. By God, we have structure. And if we have... we are a podcast of laws, gentlemen.
Sorry.
much like the universe that we live in.
What is it that you don't do in the House
is
of
governed
Pain?
by laws.
What is it?
Around?
No. What's that movie? You go back to the House of Pain? Something.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Never seen that movie? God, I can't think of what it is.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie you can't think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The quote is if you do something, you go back to the House of Pain, and that's like in the House of Pain Jump Around record. There's a sample of it in there.
Oh. Well, that's where I know it from, I suppose.
And that is your Jump Around minute on the Shotcast.
I like the idea of having a House of Pain minute of like
The House of Pain, yeah, sure.
The island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. The original, yes. You go back to the House of Pain.
All right. I'm now I'm more of a supporter of all this.
Starting to make sense.
It's all decent.
So guys, first of all, how the hell are you? What's been going on? John, you seem to be pretty chatty. What's going on with you?
It's different than usual. Let's see. I was almost late to the podcast tonight because I was teaching my son how to feed fish. He got a fish tank for his birthday, and we put fish in it.
It's not like fish are fussy eaters.
No,
you just dump the stuff in there.
Yeah, he had never done it before. He just like, how much of this do I put in? Not
Should
all.
have just said figure it out until they walked away.
Keep putting it in until they stop eating.
Death will be your guide, son.
That's right. No, we bought some of those genetically modified glowfish. Have you seen these things?
No.
Wait.
They actually modify their genetic structure to make them iridescent, so that if you put them under a black light, they glow. Science.
Yeah.
Science.
How bioluminescent are they? Like, will
Pretty-
it keep
pretty-
it up?
They're not technically bioluminescent. They do not glow under their own power.
So do they come with like a tank that has a black light in the top of it?
So we've got a tank that's got like a white LEDs for daytime, and then when you turn it into night mode, it's got these very dim blue LEDs that are supposed to simulate moonlight, and that makes these like there's a pink one and a bright yellow one in there, and it makes them just fucking glow. Like the rest of the tank is all blue, and then there's this bright yellow fish right in the middle of it swimming around.
Is there also a Hendrix poster?
Working on it. He's only
Yeah.
6. We're not quite to Hendrix yet.
Oh, okay.
He's been exposed. Yeah, I mean, you always got to expose people to Hendrix.
Sure.
There's a corner at a Spencer's Gifts that I could point you in the direction of to help
God.
fill the rest of that room out.
It's nice to know that no matter what else happens in my life, I can always depend on Spencer Gifts being the exact same thing that it has always been. That store
always
has
there.
not changed in fucking 30 years. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, if you absolutely have to have a magic 8-ball.
Yeah. If I don't get a velvety blacklight poster of some sweet, sweet cannabis leaves right now, I'm going to go crazy. Oh, you know what? You can just go to Spencer Gifts. Fabulous.
Yeah. I don't know where I would go to find a Spencer Gifts at this point.
The mall.
And yeah, but the only mall nearby is Opry Mills here in lovely Nashville, Tennessee.
And that may not be family friendly enough for an Opry Mills establishment. That's
Yeah.
some high class shopping.
Yeah, and certainly Green Hills isn't going to have a Spencer.
Oh, I don't know. That seems like the place. That
It's
might-
right next to the Apple Store.
Yeah.
Right, and between the Apple Store and Tivana.
Yeah.
All those
It's the
angsty
Spencer's.
kids. You know, they're tired of shopping at. Have you seen that
Hot
store?
Topics.
They call it Spencer's.
It's like
There's-
Target boutique.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like an accent gue over the E in Spencer's. Spencer.
Spencer's Gifts. I got a hankering for some Spencer's Gifts now, man. I got to go there.
What
Get
are
my-
you gonna get? Like one of those? What are they called? Dyson spheres or whatever? That
No, a Dyson sphere. Don't get me started.
all right.
Uh-oh.
Probably for the best. Justin, what's been going on with you? Speaking of Dyson spheres,
Not too much. Just working my new job is pretty awesome. Haven't really been getting into too much else. Just playing video games, getting ready to go on a camping trip. So it's gonna be pretty fun.
Where are you going?
This place in the land between the lakes. It's like called the North-South Trail. It just goes from one end of the land between the lakes to the other, but we're only going to do about maybe 8 or 9 miles of it, and then just turn around and come back.
That sounds pretty sweet.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's
Just
gonna
like a hike in a camp, or
yeah, just like
hike in
backpacking.
camp and then.
Yeah, just carrying everything. I'm taking hammock, all that stuff, and then it's supposed to rain the whole time, so I bought like a heavy duty like poncho deal. So it's gonna be miserable and fun at the same time, I think.
Do you got a rainfly for your tent?
Yes, I have everything, but I've got it pretty packed down to where it doesn't weigh that much, so I'm not carrying that that much weight.
Need a waterproof guitar if it's gonna rain.
I used to have one of those little backpacker guitars that probably I could strap to the side of it, but those things are a piece of crap.
Yeah, it's better than a ukulele. Well, maybe not. I don't know. If you're Eddie Vedder, maybe not. That guy can play a goddamn ukulele.
Yeah, I can't bring myself to camp anymore. I mean, at some point, I'm sure I will before the end of days, but maybe.
Or maybe just wait for the end of days, and then you'll have to camp. So
Right.
Exactly.
Look, and that's the thing is, like, I'll never make it in that first culling of, like, eliminating the weak and the sickly. Like, I'll never make it through that cut.
you just walk out in the street with your hand up and just be like, "Yo."
Yes, whatever it is, hordes of
just do it.
zombies, nuclear war, whatever it is.
Yeah, just get it over with.
Yeah.
I hope for like the this is the end type thing where it's just like demons that hunt people down. I hope that's what happens.
Just tearing people apart in the street, just hellish,
Yeah.
horned, hooved demons.
I mean, again, no matter what the circumstance, I'm going to be of little use to anyone. Like,
Oh.
I'm like a junior varsity human being. Like, I'm not quite good enough for regular play.
Apocalypse is when John Dolan shines.
Yeah.
That's my time.
You have a go bag?
I'm ready. Do I have a go bag?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called All My Neighbors Shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty solid.
That's my
strategy.
go bag. Yeah, that's why technically, you can get into a Second Amendment debate some other time. But that's why you don't need a gun. You just find someone who has a gun and you kill them and you take it from them. Now you have a gun. So it's easy. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, seriously. Apocalypse Survival 101. Step 1, steal a gun from someone.
Step 2, profit.
I mean, if you have one, it just makes step 1 shorter. That's all. Yeah. You don't need a gun. Just go get one. There's guns everywhere. If you live in the United States when the apocalypse happens, you're going to find a gun. That's guaranteed.
Luck, Britain.
Yeah, seriously.
What are you
Europe's
gonna do?
fucked.
Yeah, they're just going to yell at the apocalypse. I think that's going to get them anywhere. All right, so aside from camping, Justin, anything else afoot, or shall we move on to the real business of this podcast?
Let us move on.
All right. Since we're talking to you already, and for no other reason, what have you been playing recently, sir?
So I'm a big fan of that Insurgency game, and the guys have released or who do that game have released a game called Day of Infamy, which is basically just that same game, just wrapped up in World War II instead of a modern setting, with a couple of new features and things like that. But I've been playing that a whole bunch more. They always offer a good like single player mode where it's just kind of you can hop in and play against bots and stuff like that. So those Insurgency and this are kind of my go-to. I've got 15 minutes to kill. I just want to play something mindless for a little bit. So I really like those. I definitely would suggest checking either Insurgency out or Day of Infamy if you haven't. And obviously there's a whole slew of multiplayer options with those two, and the community for that is actually really awesome. And it's a rough game. It's one or two shots and you're down. So it's not a Call of Duty or something like that where you can kind of soak up some bullets and stuff like that. It takes a lot of skill to be really good in the multiplayer on that, and it behooves you to work together in that that setting as well. You know how I like games that kind of force you to do that.
You do enjoy your military simulations, and the more simmy, the better.
Really, just anything that forces people to have to work together. I don't know. I just like that.
With the added benefit of that you can also kill each other, or
yeah, I mean that's a plus.
Yeah, like that's a positive.
But
You think?
I think I would be just as happy in like in Squad. They've now released vehicles, and with that came like a logistics system. So if you want to go build like a base in the front lines, up until now you just had like a points system that would replenish. And now if you want to do that, you have a set, amount of points, and then as you use those up, they don't refill, and someone has to get in a truck and drive from the main base to your little forward base that you've set up and replenish your supply points. I would be totally happy just being that guy who's driving that truck and who never like shoots around the entire game. Like
it'd be like you're an NPC in the Phantom Pain.
yeah, I mean, there's some added like benefit of like obviously you're gonna get shot at some point, and people are gonna try and protect you. So there's that's the part of it that's like fun to me is it's not so much that I have to kill the other team. It's just the fact that it forces you to actually win as a team as opposed to that guy's really good at just shooting people in the head like in a Call of Duty, and he held the team and made our team win.
I like that too.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Kind of an MVP scenario. That's always nice.
Yeah. Past that, I've played a couple VR things. I picked up this thing called Soundstage, which is pretty cool. It's like almost just like a music program. So you load up and you've got like a keyboard that you can spawn in front of you, and then you can spawn like an effect to attenuate that sound, and then you have to connect those effects with cabling in the game like you would in real life. And then there's drums, and there's all kinds of different instruments that you can sequence and set up, and you're doing it all in a 3D space. But it's pretty fun. I didn't really make anything that was coherent, but I think you could spend a lot of time in it and get it to a point where you can actually do something that you could maybe pull off like a little bit of a live kind of DJ thing is kind of the vibe I get from it.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of this in action, and it seems super cool.
Yeah.
I don't have any musical talent to speak of. Other than being able to bang my damn head, son.
You really don't have to, because the way it works, if you can understand the concept of working the sequencer, then you can get in there and just do enough to make some noise, which is fun enough in itself. Past that, Tilt Brush. I've mentioned that one before. I think a lot of people are familiar with that. They did an update where they actually added a whole set of new brushes that are audio reactive. So if you've got music playing in the background, you can draw lightning in this 3D space. Let's say that that's one of the brushes, and then it will react to that audio in the room. So it's pretty cool to see people trying to pull in even more stuff, where you can just have some music playing in the background and have that affect, the gameplay, even though Tilt Brush isn't really a game, it's more of an art thing. But I don't know, that's a pretty fun experience to throw someone into for the first time and watch them kind of have those aha virtual reality moments.
So you've been doing mostly like industrial VR of late.
Yeah.
Like making stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's a huge application for this. Once we get a couple more iterations into the headsets and the handsets, is 3D modeling and stuff like that, I hope would be one of the first areas where they would try and adopt virtual reality a little bit more. And creating things to me is always cool, and I think I like games and I like experiences that allow you to just open end kind of create things. I purchased This Is the Police. I had sent you guys an email about that.
Yeah, I looked at that. I couldn't watch the previews for it, and I couldn't figure out what the hell you would be doing in the game.
So it's like a 4X game. And I've never, ever been into a game like that, but I watched the trailer for it, and I watched some gameplay of it, and just the art style and the content, the story of it seemed really, really cool and really unique. I've only played it for about 10 minutes, and I know I have not even got to the core gameplay of it, so I don't want to comment on really the gameplay of it, but just the story and the setup is very bleak. You're sort of just this like burnt out cop who is getting ready to come. If I remember correctly, you're stepping down as police chief, and so the police chief is stepping down, and you're stepping up to take over. And it just seems the story is very very bleak, and you have to make a lot of hard decisions. Which I like things that are punishing like that.
4X. What is that again?
Like Civ,
explore, expand,
yeah,
exploit,
something, and exterminate.
and exterminate. Exploit and exterminate. Yeah, I love that.
So I'm really looking forward to playing some more of that. I haven't played it because I know I want to dedicate a hunk of time for my first kind of session of it. I want to kind of really get into it and see what the mechanics of it are like.
All right.
I didn't get 4X from that, like the trailer from that game. I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, the trailer doesn't at all. There's a gameplay trailer that does a little bit better.
Okay.
At
Like,
kind
the
of
trailer's
giving you an
fucking
overview.
cool, but it just
Yeah.
I had no idea what the hell the game was about at the end of it. I'm like, oh, okay.
You're like, oh, this seems cool, but yeah,
But I don't know what seems cool.
yeah.
Something.
Definitely
Something
look up
is cool.
Definitely look up the gameplay trailer or some just someone on YouTube who did some gameplay because it looks pretty fun.
The
And
art's
it's got a
fucking
slick
awesome.
interface. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
Wasn't there some controversy around this? I felt like I have a tickle of memory that there was something about the game's brutality or showcasing police brutality or something. Am I just making stuff up at this point, which is totally possible?
You're just trying to start shit.
Yeah, all right. Maybe I thought it was like The Wire, the game, or something.
I would honestly, I don't know why I hadn't really put those two together, but it kind of seems like it. That totally makes sense. I mean, you may have read something like that about it.
All right, good to know.
I'm going to take the opposing viewpoint. I think you may not have read something about that.
Fair enough. I'm not so good with the reading, so that's also possible.
I wanted both
words are
sides
like
to
a
be
puzzle.
represented. Isn't that how the news works now?
Right. No matter
No matter how stupid your position is, we're still gonna put it on the air because why not? It's the news.
Yeah. I love it when they feel like giving equal time means getting the dumbest person possible to be like,
I think
don't
it's
believe
okay
it's
to
face.
have a cougar in your house when you have babies walking, crawling around. I think it's okay. That's my
Yeah.
viewpoint. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we've given your opposing viewpoint due time on the news. Cougars, babies.
Yeah,
just-
as is so often the case, I know this is not about video games, but there is a real problem, I think, in maybe other cultures, but this one specifically, with the notion of conflating freedom of speech with freedom from, like, ridicule.
Yes.
Like, you can believe whatever crazy shit you want, but along with that is the ability of anyone to criticize what you're passionate about. And, you just got to be cool with that. It's a free society for now.
Till our Lord and Master Donald Trump takes office for the rest of his life.
It's gonna be so sweet.
Yeah.
I'm just leaning into this Donald Trump thing and hoping that I can just, get on his good side,
Well,
The apocalypse is where John shines.
you're really, you're voting Trump all the way. As a fan of chaos and anarchy, it's hard to deny that he's really the candidate who speaks most to me. Because he's the only candidate that you can't predict his next move.
Yeah.
Is he going to attack a baby? Is he going to give an economic speech? Is he going to threaten to kill the other nominee? It's
Tune in.
Yeah.
Find out.
it's
great.
It's all a big goof, which I enjoy. Justin, what else have you been playing?
Is he gonna kill a baby?
That is it for the past 2 weeks.
All right. Johnny Dolan, aside from offering up children as sacrifice to our new leader, glorious
On
leader.
Sundays. Only on Sundays.
Really, I was going Wednesdays.
No, man.
Mostly because I had a baby to kill today, and I was like, it's a Wednesday, might as well make
I
it.
cannot get to it until Sunday.
I'm booked. Much as I might like to murder an infant,
Yes.
it's just not enough hours in the day sometimes.
I mean, and sometimes there's no money in it, so that's that's a
Yeah.
problem.
But if you love it, you make time for it.
It's true. This is true.
What else have you been playing other than roulette with your life?
There was a free weekend for Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and I played that with friend of the show, Mark.
Yeah, how's COD Blops 3, as the
Blops.
kids call it?
It's a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
I was really, really underwhelmed by the graphics in it. They actually looked bad to me, like almost.
Because they haven't upgraded their engine in like
Yeah,
since the original.
I was actually kind of surprised because I played Black Ops 1, I believe, and enjoyed it. I can't remember if I played 2 or not. But even when I go back and look at like Call of Duty 4, the first Modern Warfare, sometimes that game still looks good. Like they did a lot with what they had, and I was not impressed on the free weekend. The worst part of the whole experience was that they just kept ramming this futuristic reskin of the Nuketown map down your throat. Like Mark and I must have played like fucking 10 rounds of Nuketown, and whatever graphic treatment they did to it, like they were trying to make it look like a Fallout's version of the 1950s, where it's all bubbly cars and like big round windows and shit.
Yeah.
But it was in that horrible graphics engine. It just looked fucking cartoony and stupid. It was really bad. So I don't know. The controls are still the same. It was fine. It was a decent shooter. It was online, so we dumped into the like the lowest level playlist that you can get into, where like all the noobs should be. And of course there's guys in there that are like, level 50 or whatever, and their armor is pink and it glows and pulsates, and they can like go predator stealth whenever they want. And you're running around with like the default guns trying to compete with those guys. So we had one round where I had 0 kills and 37 deaths.
Yeah.
It was bad. But we came around and we did all right. We played that for most of the night just because it was kind of, I don't know, it was interesting to see where Call of Duty is recently. And I don't even know how old that one is. It's not that old. But it was not impressive at all. Like, even on a free weekend, and I think they were selling it for $10, I had no interest in picking it up.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the last Call of Duty game I played. Certainly a new one. I don't know. We have a whole chat here for this reason. Anybody, you guys in chat, you guys play Call of Duty these days? I don't ever feel like it comes up, but maybe that's because I play mostly with you guys, and you guys are jerks like me.
Sorry.
No, it's very cute.
I'm in the chat.
I know you are.
Participate.
It's okay, honey.
All right.
But
I mean, I know people who play it, but I think for me, those games on PC are just not ported very well. I mean, the graphics don't look any better than what they would look like on a console. And I have like Modern Warfare 3, and that's enough for me to go get a fix of that kind of game if I ever want to.
What's the most recent version of that?
Of what?
Of Call of Duty? Is it Ghosts or Ghosts 2?
Oh.
Or, I don't even know. I have no idea.
Yeah, there came a point where I just stopped keeping up because
Like
they were coming out every year.
2 companies, and it's like, Jesus Christ, I couldn't.
Yeah, it's like Treyarch, and then the other company. It's Call of Duty, Transformers, G.I. Joe.
Is that the full name of the game?
It is.
That sounds pretty great.
Yeah.
So who do you play as, Transformers or G.I. Joe?
Whatever.
You play as a trans G.I. Joe.
I don't know.
As a transgender, like Duke has made the turn to Daisy.
Yeah, but it's still like he pulls down his pants and it's just that action figure flap still.
Right,
Like,
and he was like,
yeah.
I've had this all along. I've never felt like a real man.
Something along those lines.
The
Dresses
next.
make my legs feel good.
Oh god.
It's breezy.
You're looking at Call of Duty Infinite Warfare being the most.
Is that out?
It comes out in
Oh,
November.
okay. Yeah, and I saw a video of that looked cool. Like there was a level where people were on like a platform in space and they had magnetic boots and grappling hooks, and so they could like pull themselves along the like they could jump off into 0G and then look down at the platform and point their grappling hook down and like Just Cause 2 their way down, to the platform again and stick their boot like that. That looked interesting. It looks like there was a graphics upgrade coming in for that game, but I don't know, man. I was so bummed by Black Ops 3. It was bad. I played a bunch more Doom. I'm still not done with it. I'm on chapter 11. I believe there are 13 chapters. I can't play that game for like really long sittings because it gets super intense.
Yeah, it does. And that for me is why I beat it so quick. Is the more intense it got, the more just adrenaline dump I needed. Because it just multiplies in difficulty as you go. I love it.
Yeah, and just the environments in that game are just shockingly brutal and grotesque. They're just so fucking great, man. It's so good, but it just like it becomes too much. It is fucking sensory overload at a point where you'll like have a battle where you literally have not stopped moving for 5-6 minutes straight. You're just in one big long battle with tons of guys that keep coming from all sides, and you're trying to dodge and gather ammo and pick up health and shit. And then that kick-ass soundtrack is just going constantly in that thing, and like you'll get to the end of that battle and the music will drop and like you realize that you're just all fucking tensed up and you've been holding your breath for like 30 seconds. That game is nuts. I need to beat it soon because it's wearing me out. I played it until like 1 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. I was so fucking tired the next day because I was just all stressed out.
Right, it's not quality sleep when you're like a rugged doom session.
It's just a demon bloodbath murder fest. And bedtime.
And I don't think I'm exaggerating here, but Doom is as stressful as the trench warfare of World War I.
Accurate.
Yeah. Is anybody around to dispute that?
No, they've all been gassed.
Man.
Too soon.
It's getting dark in here.
Yeah, gallows humor. I haven't finished Doom either, and I kind of have the same thing where, like, I'll pick it up and I'll play it for a few minutes, and I don't know, man. I'm getting old, and like loud noises startle me, or something.
I need to be in the right mood for it.
I think that's it. It's just like it's been a while since I've been in a I need to rip somebody apart to restore my health kind of mood, which is totally badass. There's no argument against.
You'll get back there. Then Doom will be waiting.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. Yep. So good.
I will return, but not until I get done with some other stuff.
On the retro side of things, my son is really, really starting to get into video games, and I pulled out my PS2 and hooked it up in his playroom and started a brand new game of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. That game fucking holds up really, really well. It is such a great RPG.
I kind of want to play it right now.
It's so good, man. It's so good. Everything about it is just, it's like a perfect, it's not overly simplified. It's not a very, super complicated. It's just like this perfect little RPG. It's just, here's just enough inventory management, just enough story, and just a whole lot of hack and slash. It fucking works great. I don't know if you can play that anywhere but on PS2. Like, there's not a PC version of Dark Alliance.
It says PS2, Xbox, Game Boy Advance, and GameCube. So feasibly, I mean, you can
emulate it.
You can emulate any of those, yeah.
Yeah, but man, the fidelity's not super great, but it's still decent.
But if you emulated it,
yeah, I'm actually playing it on a CRT television, like a 27-inch flat screen. So it looks fine.
And we've got an image up for it right now, but
That's actually the character I'm playing in the new game.
the dwarf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the inventory system in that game quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's
so simple. It's tabs across the top. It's like 5 tabs. You got weapons, armor, potions, quests. I can't remember what the last 2 are. It's like I don't remember what it is.
I thought one of them was like your save and stuff, like your
system
tab.
Yeah, like your system tab. Yeah, but it's So when you're playing one player, you can see your armor. You can play. The best thing about it was that it was co-op and it wasn't split screen. It was like a single screen, like rubber banded. It actually did it pretty well for a rubber banded player experience where you have to be on the same screen. But yeah, the magic looks really cool. Like the fire effect is really neat. The electricity kicks ass for the wizard. But and then all the like you pick up a sword that has like a magic spell imbued on it, and like the flame effect on it is really cool. And it was like, damn, this game looks pretty good still. So yeah, we played that. We got probably about 4 or 5 hours into the story on that.
Oh, it's so good.
It's really fun, and so my son's getting much better at reading. Like it's just this exponential increase in his vocabulary, and whenever we play stuff like that, we switch off reading, the lines. Or like I'll read the text when you're talking to someone in the conversation mode, and I'll read what they're saying, and then I make him read me the sentence that he wants to say back for practice reading, and he loves it. So it's really it's really a cool game.
Yeah,
I always remembered liking it, and now it's like, oh god, yeah, this is really good. Now that I'm actually back into it. So
yeah, I'm sitting here staring at this picture and thinking, man, I would love to be playing Dark Alliance right now. It's very Diablo-esque in its way.
It is. And that was a criticism of it originally when it came out, was that it was, that's just Diablo. They just stole Diablo. But it's not quite as complicated as Diablo, but as far as the control and the systems in the game, it's just as good as Diablo was back then. So there was the PC version of Baldur's Gate, but it's a very different game. That's more of like a point and click, like RPG, like a Dungeon Siege or something like that. And for some reason,
and I like Dungeon Siege, but
Dungeon
Siege ain't no Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance.
Yeah, I mean Dark Alliance is just like of that Baldur's Gate name. It's very different from any of the other games that they made. So I would love to see
Dark Alliance 2.
Yeah.
Which was it, Dark Alliance or Dark Alliance 2 that ended on the cliffhanger after the lizard people section, and it was never picked back up. And it was a real bummer because after playing Dark Alliance, and I probably played through that game easily 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And coming to the end of it was like, oh, here's this story beat that is going to lead you to the next game. And I think that was in Dark Alliance, and I don't think Dark Alliance 2 picked up there.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's been years, and the water under that bridge is murky at best. But
well, now I have to play to the end of it to find out. So
well, you got Daniel to do it, so just like, kid, give me a yell when you're about to finish this game up. Which is that's a weird thing too, because he is a not first time, but a new video gamer.
Yeah.
So I wonder, does he have the appreciation for I beat this game, especially kids today who grew up on Minecraft? And I know I keep like sub-questioning my question.
Yeah,
but
no, that's right.
But I'm getting to a point very rapidly, I promise, that a kid who grows up on Minecraft, for example, there's no end to that game. I mean, there kind of is, but not really.
Yeah.
Like you can beat the, what is it? Not the Elder, but
the Ender Dragon.
Ender Dragon and all that.
Yes.
But, yeah, I just feel like there is something about beating a game that is strangely satisfying. And I don't know that the current crop of modern games necessarily embraces that in the same way. Like, especially games that a kid would get into, like, Terraria or Minecraft or something like that, or even a No Man's Sky, which might have an ending, but that's not the point,
I mean, you can have a goal inside of the game, but I see what you're saying where the game itself doesn't embrace that same kind of, well, I finished this,
Yeah.
and you can put it on the shelf and say, yeah, I did that. You know, in Minecraft, you can be like, I'm going to build a castle. And then, well, I built that castle. And then you blow it up, because it doesn't mean anything. Whereas, like, when we were kids or, growing up, you'd beat a game and you would sort of cherish that game to some degree.
Right, like knowing that Samus was a lady was a big deal when you were a kid. Like when you hit that point, you were like, oh my God, this had not only an ending, but kind of a surprise ending. Where, she shakes out her 8-bit hair and you're like, I suddenly feel weird in my crotchal region and I don't know why. But now I can't wear clothes when I play Metroid.
I took a picture. Do you remember those cameras that had the 110 film in them? Do you remember 110 film? Where it was where it had like the two canisters on either side. It was just a cartridge, like, and you just put it in the back of your camera. So I had one of those cameras, and I took a picture of the final screen of the NES version of Rygar when I beat that game. Like an actual film picture of my screen because I was so proud that I had beaten that game. Yeah.
Right.
So, but Daniel does get into that. Like I think I talked about a couple episodes ago where we finished Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time together, and he thinks that's really cool that we like beat the game, and now there's all this kind of bonus afterwards content that you can try out, and he think that's like it registers still that this is a But then he's also a huge fan of Minecraft, and like I agree with you, Bo, that there literally is like no end to Minecraft. Like, there's so many ways. Like they keep adding to it. There's all the mods that are available for it, so you can play that game so many different ways. That there's, when they did finally put in the Ender Dragon and all that stuff, I think by the time they'd finished that, like the criticism that people had of Minecraft was that there's no end game to it. By the time they got to actually like creating one that was enough of an ending that people that were really complaining about it shut up, like people had just kind of generally moved on because they just almost universally agreed, yeah, this doesn't really need an ending, so it's just a different style. I can't really think of anything from gaming when I was a kid that was like Minecraft style of game. I don't.
Maybe like a Harvest Moon or.
Yeah,
some of the SNES stuff was approaching
that's
that.
Probably about as close as you're going to get.
Yeah. A couple of notes from the chat I'll throw in here regarding our Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance love. And it is love. Don't kid yourself. I love that game and would make out with it if I could. Even as old as it is now. It's got some mileage, but old girl's got some life in her. Doc Shocker mentioned Champions of Norath, which of course was the EverQuest Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, kind of like that game. I didn't play it a ton. I played it a little bit, and I found it, if memory serves, I mean, again, this is going back and, brain broken and all that. I kind of remember that being a little more complicated, and it lost some of the purity of what Dark Alliance was doing. I could have that wrong. I might be confusing that with another game. And likewise, another of our chat members mentioned the game Stonekeep, which I did not play, and he refers to it as a predecessor of Baldur's Gate from Interplay. And I kind of want to play that game now. I want to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I completely missed Stonekeep. That sounds interesting. I was a big fan of like Interplay titles too. Like I liked a lot of the Flashback. I believe that was an Interplay published game, and what was the one that was like Flashback?
Out of This World.
Out of This World, yes. And I believe on the consoles it was called Another World, and then there was a sequel to it.
Called I Still Know What Another World did this summer.
It's called Heart of the Alien. I have it on Sega CD. Woo!
Yeah.
Another World was rough, if I remember correctly.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I almost equate that game to kind of like a Dragon's Lair, though, where it was just a memorize the moves to complete this level kind of a game. So That's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, some of the
but
puzzles in it are fucking great.
very difficult, and like you said, it was unforgiving. So is that it, John? You haven't been playing anything else?
No, that is not it.
Oh, what else have you been playing?
Played about 5 hours or so of No Man's Sky. That game's really, really interesting. I don't really think it's spoilers if I kind of just talk about the beginning of the game.
I watched you play a little bit, so you're
Yeah,
not.
I was-
Yeah,
I
I watched
streamed-
some of your stream as well.
Yeah, I streamed about the first 2.5 hours of it. Maybe about 3 hours, and then I played for a couple hours again later that night.
Oh, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
Before you get into this, I just want to say, yes, we've been advertising this. We're trying to figure out how to give away the PS4 copy of No Man's Sky that we've got. I don't know that we've completely settled on anything. Here's the thing you got to do. First of all, you got to subscribe to the channel as you're listening to get entered. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is all real subjective.
No, that's good. Yeah.
So subscribe to the YouTube channel and show me you're subscribed. And if you are subscribed, then I think we're going to have a 2-tier system here, which is you have to be subscribed to the channel. That's a prerequisite. And then you have to ask a question or give us a recipe for the end of the show that we all deem acceptable and worthy of a copy of No Man's Sky.
So for clicking a button and typing the words "dump a Mountain Dew and cake batter,"
You could
win.
Yes, you could get a PS4 downloadable copy of No Man's Sky on this very program. So I just want to get that out there. We'll do this at the end of the show. If you're listening, then by all means subscribe. And once you've subscribed, then when we tell you, like, hey, we're ready for some questions or recipes, you throw some out there if one tickles our fancy. Or maybe even, a little lower than the fancy, maybe something a little sexier, then...
The Wazoo.
Right. I don't know. The Wazoo is getting explicit
Is that
territory.
too low? Too low.
This is
Okay.
YouTube. We're
A little higher.
broadcasting to YouTube. I don't know what their standards are
Lower
when
than
it
the
comes to
fancy,
the Wazoo.
but higher than the Wazoo.
Just
Somewhere in
above
between.
the waist. Keep it above the waist.
I don't know. All right, we'll see. But anyway, go on with your report of No Man's Sky, and yes, somebody is going to walk away from this show tonight with a free copy.
Nice. You just spawn on a planet, and this robot voice says, your ship is busted, and this piece of your ship is busted, and this piece of your ship is busted. And so you just kind of wake up after having crash landed on a planet. You can walk over to your ship, and there's kind of sparks flying out of one of the engines on it, and it's smoking a little bit. And there's a bunch of debris scattered around. And the only real prompt that you have is just a very small box down in the right corner that says, go to your starship. And so you walk over to your ship, and then a little icon pops up, and it's press square to enter your ship. And then you get in the cockpit, and then the thing down at the bottom says you need to fix the hyperdrive, you need to fix the weapons system, whatever. It gives you 3 things you need to do. And then it says, go outside and gather materials to make these repairs. So you go out into the world, and you've got a multi-tool that is it's a mining laser. You can add mods to it that also make it into a gun. You could use your mining laser as a gun as well. But you walk out in the environment, and there's plants, and there are outcroppings of minerals that you can collect. And so some of them are periodic elements. Some are just kind of made up element names, but you pick these up, and you'll pick up plutonium that you can use for fuel in your ship. And you can pick up certain chemical. You can pick up carbon, and carbon can be used to, I believe, fix your armor. I think that's one of them. But everything has a certain elements that you would use to either refuel it or repair it. You can also craft materials. So one of the first things you need to do is you have to gather a whole bunch of carbon and something called iridium, I think it was. And you turn those into these metal plates. And you need to craft 4 of those to fix the hull of your ship. And so you just go into your inventory, you hover over. You have a personal inventory, and you're wearing like an exosuit. So you have an inventory in your suit, and then you have an inventory in your ship, and it's a limited number of spaces. While you're playing the game, you can find upgrades for your suit as you're kind of exploring the world, and you can find new ships that have larger cargo areas. When you're out walking around the world, so you find like an iron outcropping, you shoot it with your mining laser, and it'll like explode into these little rocks, and they all kind of come flying back at you, and they gather in your inventory. At any time while you're out, you land your ship, and while you're out walking around, at the beginning it's non-functional, so you can't move it. But at any time, you can open your exosuit inventory, hover over an item, and hold down the triangle button, and it will transfer it to your ship, no matter how far away you are. So it's the gaminess of it. It steps outside of a simulation for a second and just makes the game a little more fun, because if every time your inventory filled up, you had to run all the way back to your fucking ship to dump it, that would suck ass. So it's nice that that's in there. So you go out and you find all these elements that you need to repair your ship, and you realize that while you're walking around the planet that I started on, was weird. It was like all purple and had like lava and like mushrooms growing all over the place, and it was a pretty cool place. I'm actually kind of sad that I left it, because I don't know if I could ever find my way back there. But
do you
it
not have like a star chart or a nav
you
map
do,
or
and
something?
actually so that's one of the most interesting things about the beginning of this game is the help that it gives you is really, really minimal, and the interface it's not insanely complicated, but it's you just basically kind of have to guess for a while what you're supposed to be clicking on, but you'll hover over things, and like you'll hover over like plutonium in your inventory, and a big panel will pop up with information about plutonium, and in that panel, as you read down, you'll see hold square to craft material, or hold X to build a component for your ship or something like that. And unless you're like taking the time to read all of these menus, you're going to not know what to do for a while. So you just kind of have to really, put in the time at the beginning of the game to understand the controls, and the menu system. You kind of just have to work. You kind of have to figure the shit out on your own. Like there are these little prompts down in the corner that are just on the, the right side of vague to, say something like press this button to open your inventory and craft a steel panel by holding square on an empty slot. And so it's just enough instructions where I open my inventory, find an open slot, hold down square. Okay. And then you discover there's this menu when you hold square down over an empty slot that you didn't know was there before. Like it doesn't just appear from hovering. So it teaches you how to use it, but like in the most minimal manner possible. So it was a little difficult at first to kind of like, I got stuck a few times. I'm like, oh, what the fuck am I supposed to do next? Like I couldn't figure out, is there a quest marker? Is there this? Is there that? And eventually I fixed my little scanner device. You go into your inventory and you see scanner, and it's got like a exclamation point over it. And when you hover over it, it says repair this device. And hold X to repair this device. And if you hold X, it won't do anything. And then you'll see there's this meter that says you need 50 platinum to fix this device. And you currently have 7. So you got to go out and you walk around, and near where you spawned, there will be some platinum that you can pick up and you fix this device. So it's just essentially teaching you how to play the game. As you go on, you will find new technologies that you can like plug in your mining laser that modify its abilities. So at first it's like a solid beam laser that you fire into elements and plants and things, and it'll collect their elements. But then I found a pulse modification for it that turned it almost into more of like a laser pistol that was like a rapid fire pistol, and you could still mine things with that, but it wasn't efficient as a mining laser. It took so Bo, I think you were the only one watching the stream when this happened, but I was out and had ventured way too far away from my ship.
Got a little froggy, yes.
And there was call outs from the robot voice saying that my life support system was down to 10%. And so I turned around and I pointed at there's like a little ship icon, way off over the horizon. And this little clock pops up and it says 5 minutes until arrival. So as you're walking, like if you start walking at full speed, the clock will start counting down, telling you how long it's going to take in real time for you to get to that thing. So when I was doing that, and it was very stressful because I was running out of life support and I didn't know if I was going to make it back to the camp or not, and I did, like, just right at the very last second, as it seemed. At that moment in me playing the game, I did not realize that you could run. So I walked. I walked the entire 5 minutes.
I did see that thing about, or I did see a thing about how the sprinting mechanic is kind of weird in the game.
It's fine. Yeah, I had that on in the news. It's kind of, it works fine. Like the functionality of it is fine. When you click the button, it's the run button. It runs. It's fast enough to where you feel like, yeah, feel like I'm running. I'm covering more ground. I'm satisfied with this. But it's on when you're playing with a controller. It's the right stick. You click in the right stick to run, but you click in the left stick to do your scanner, and the left stick is also your movement controller. So like standard shooter controls are always whatever is your feet, whatever stick is your feet, you click that stick to run, and it's backwards from that. And there's not an option in the game options to switch that or set your own controls at all. So the workaround, I'll just blow the news story now because we're talking about it. PlayStation 4 actually has built-in control remapping that you can get into. I forget what menu it's under, but you can literally go in there and say, I don't know if you can specify a specific game, but I know that you can just say, right now when I click this stick, it means this button, and when you click this stick, it means this button. So you can just map them yourself.
Right. Swap your R3 and L3. And,
yeah. So that's an example of the game really does the minimum amount to teach you. Like the only way that I would have known to run is if I hit the menu button, tabbed over to the controls menu, and then read all of the controls to figure out where run was. Like it's not faced in the game at all. Like some games you'll be playing the game and it will say click this to run. It doesn't do any of that shit. So you
granted, it's pretty easy to just open up the menu.
It is, yeah. Granted, I probably should have done that, but I didn't because I was having so much goddamn fun walking around.
But most games would have
shit.
Yeah, most games do have like a context thing at the beginning that it's at least like, you press this button to run. And
it's not impossible to figure out. What's more hard is, so I did not get to the point. One of the first things you do in the game, you fix your ship, and then there's, it's just teaching you the systems of the game. You fix all these things on your ship. You fix the scanner so you can, identify things in the world. You hold down the left trigger and you go into like a binocular mode, and then you can zoom in and you place that over something in the world, and the scanner pulses over it. And if it's an undiscovered object, it says you just discovered this, and it loads it into like your database that you're carrying around with you. So then at any time you can go into that database and you can report that thing to the universe. There's like a series of communication towers that you'll come across, but at any time you can just say, I want to report this to the database, and then if anybody else ever came to that point in the game, they would see that you discovered it, and at that point you also have the option to rename it. The profanity filter seems to work pretty good. Just say that right away. I think I tried to name something Mr. Poopy Buttholeberg, and it wouldn't take it.
Which part of that do you think was
But he's
the
a
problem?
beloved family friend.
That's right. What I did name it instead was Ham Wallet.
Sure, just go through, what is it, Foxtrot, Uniform Charlie, Kilo, all those, yeah.
Yeah, you just figured out my idea.
That's, ladies and gentlemen, the Bloodhound Gang.
That's right.
Maybe the first appearance of the Bloodhound Gang on the Schadecast.
Pork Steeple was discovered by John Dolan.
I always liked, was it Vulcanize the Quiver Bone?
Yes.
I always thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah, in the pudding hatch. Ooh la la. It's good stuff. It's a fucking great song.
Oh god, I don't want to be in the position of supporting Bloodhound Gang, but damn it, that song's real funny.
Yes, it is.
And the Ballad of Chasey Lane, I also find good.
What else can I say about No Man's Sky?
Real quick, quick thanks to I assume this Alan from our Facebook page saying that he was going to decent it up in our chat, so I felt like this was appropriate.
You deasoning something?
Yeah, we are at DEFCON Deason.
Is that like have anything to do with like D's nuts?
No. Eddie Deason from Midnight Madness fame.
Oh,
And
all right.
he was in all the movies in like the early 80s as the nerdy guy.
Oh, yeah, I see the picture now. Yeah, he was the Malvin in War Games.
Right.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Excellent. Yes.
Eddie Deason, a gift to us all.
Is that guy still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah, is he? What's he doing?
I believe that's right. I haven't heard, and I feel like I would know that. I don't like. Yes, I have a Google alert set up. If that's what you're asking.
Okay.
So let me ask you this about No Man's Sky, rather than you kind of drifting about your experience,
Sure.
which you did a fine job. I'm not criticizing.
Actually, that was an achievement that I got in the game. Was Drifter. I walked a certain distance, and you get a little thing pops up, and it says they're called milestones, and I got the Drifter milestone for walking like 10,000 space units or whatever. I don't know.
10,000 space units.
This game's really cool,
but
sounds
it's real sci-fi.
It's really kind of crazy at the same time.
So, do you feel like there is a life in the game beyond I need to go to a planet, I need to collect some resources, jump in my ship, and move to the next system, and do it again, and do it again? Like, does the game open up beyond that? You know, a la something like Minecraft, where, yeah, you can dig and you can get all these minerals and do all this crafting, but then there's all this building you can do. And I'm not saying No Man's Sky has to be a building game, but there should be something more than mining and crafting, for lack of a better term.
Yes. So one of the things that happens very early in the game is a little thing pops up that says you've found some sort of a beacon, and then a little icon appears in game. You know, so you can do your little pulse, and it'll go out and it'll identify materials that you can pick up in the world, and little icons will be floating in your viewport. So you can just put your crosshairs on that and just walk towards that thing. So then you put it on the waypoint for this beacon, and you go to this beacon, and it's they call them monoliths, and you walk up to it, and it's surrounded by these stones. I'll get to those in a second. But the main thing is you walk up to the monolith and you interact with it, and then some weird kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's got this really interesting tone. It's like you're reading your inner monologue on the screen. So text pops up, and I walked up to the stone, and the swirling dust began to blow around, and it's just very flowery, cool, sci-fi type language. And it tells you, some brief information about something called Atlas, and alluding to that, this is some force in the universe that can guide you, and then you have a choice to make, and it says follow the path of the Atlas, or I can't remember the wording on it. It's interesting, but it's like deny the this choice and just roam around freely. And basically, so what it's doing is, do you want to be tutorialized for a while and let the game lead you, or do you just want to sandbox it? And so I did the path of the Atlas, and I'm assuming this is what leads you to the mysterious end game that they've been alluding to all this time, which is get to the center of the universe. So in order to do that, I'm assuming you just kind of have to follow the path of the Atlas. I have not gotten to it yet, but it has been alluded to in the game via like debris that you'll find occasionally. Like you'll find as you're flying around on a planet, you'll find outposts, and there'll be, sometimes it's like a crashed ship. Sometimes it's like it looks like a Mars, like a habitat dome, and there'll be antennas and things there, and you can go inside and you'll find materials and stuff there. But I've found canisters outside of these outposts where it says you can't open this yet. You do not have an Atlas version 1 card. So somewhere down the
So
line,
you
you're
need
gonna
a red key card.
yes to
Okay.
open this
All
loot.
right. All
Yeah,
right.
so
That's pretty video game ass video game.
yes, so it's cool, and so as so I followed this first, and it says, okay, go to this planet. There's something there that you need to go explore, and so that's how it teaches you. You lift off, and it's the system for flying is really cool in this game. You get in your ship, and the canopy comes down over your head, and you hold down the right trigger, and it does a launch engine that fires you up in the air. And on the current ship that I have, just launching into the air one time uses 25% of your launch engine fuel. Then once you are airborne, your pulse engine takes over, and that is a sublight engine that it can get you, from planet to planet in a minute or two. And that's something I also really like about this game is that. So you take off, you do the launch jet, then you just pull your nose up and point straight up into the sky, and then you just hit the circle button and it goes into boost mode, and you haul ass out of the atmosphere into space, and there's like asteroids all over the fucking place, and there's other planets, and you can just point your ship at another planet and start flying. You can also do your scanner in space, so you can get some waypoints might pop up and telling you what the planets are, like a little name tag pops up, and you point your crosshairs at that. And as you hold down the right trigger, that engages your main engine, and then you can go into like this. It's not light speed; it's like a sublight drive that you can use within solar systems to get around, and the tag on the planet or the moon or whatever you're flying to will have that same countdown clock on it saying it's going to take you 2 minutes to get here. So I've had a couple instances in the game where I'm like, I just want to go to this place. So I'm going to sit here for 2 minutes and watch as stars and asteroids go zipping by my ship as I just fly to this place. And once you've engaged this sublight drive, it's kind of on autopilot. Like you don't have to worry about steering around asteroids or any of that kind of shit. So you can kind of just sit back for a minute and take a break while you fly to this place that you want to go to. It's really fucking cool. So there's story because you're following this Atlas storyline, but the draw to just fuck around on planets while you're there is super strong because there's numerous waypoints. The craziest shit, I don't know if I was broadcasting this. I went into a cave. I just found a naturally occurring cave, and there was tons of plutonium in there, and it was like right at the moment where I was running really low on plutonium, and you need it for fuel for the ship so that you can take off. I think it also helps charge your weapon. I can't remember. It has two uses, so it was a very useful thing, and I just found this huge cache of it. So I actually dropped some things I was carrying in my inventory, which was full, just so I could haul a bunch of plutonium, because at that moment it had kind of become like the important thing to have. But then I just started venturing down into this cave because it was fucking gorgeous. There's just like all kinds of mushrooms and just weird ass plants. And I kept going deeper and deeper into the cave, and every once in a while I would turn around and I would look and I could see the icon for my ship. And then I came to some water in the cave, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go look under the water. And so as you're doing all this shit, you're scanning all these plants, you get credits when you discover things, and then you report them in that database. So it behooves you to walk around, pull out your scanner, and every time you see something new, point your camera at it and scan it so it goes in your database, and then you'll get a couple hundred credits for each of those things. So I kept going deeper into the cave, got on the water, started swimming, and the water became too close to the roof of the cave for me to breathe anymore. So it goes into you are now on your oxygen tanks mode, and you've got a little blue bar in your HUD, and it slowly starts going down. So I'm swimming into the cave, and too late, I realize that I don't think there's another place to find air up here. So I turn around to go back to where there was air so I can climb out of the water, and there's a fork in the cave.
Oh, no.
That I didn't notice on the way in. And so I'm at the point now where it's like, well, pick a fucking side and go, because I don't got time to sit here and figure it out. So I just go to the right, and eventually I get to the point where I run out of air, and then like the screen every once in a while turns red, and your guy goes to the water,
Like
and
he's kind of choking for breath.
there is a
And
Y.
it's
There's
very
a fork
unsettling.
in the cave. And eventually I made my way out, and got back into the cave and my oxygen tanks recharged. They just automatically fill with air when you're in out in the environment, and it was real rough. Like I haven't died yet in that game, and I've come really close 3 times now. Like really close, almost drowned. The time you were watching when my life support died, and then I got attacked by some creature one time, and he got my health down to just like a sliver before I ducked inside of one of those outposts and waited for him to run away. So I've almost died 3 times.
So Chad asked, does the game, do you feel lost in how big the game gets in those moments?
You don't feel lost. It's at any given moment, you're very kind of grounded in your surroundings. Like either you're walking around on a planet or you're in your spaceship, in a solar system. And then you can zoom out to like the star map. And in order to move between stars in the game, you need to have a hyperdrive system. And that is what I am currently working on in the game. I'm just trying to find enough elements to sell. You can find like this galactic market. I've come across a couple of like it's like a low grade Mos Eisley. It's like a little space station where ships are just flying in and out nonstop. And as ships show up there, you can walk up to these. They're all NPCs, and you can walk up to this NPC ship and you can trade with the guy who's flying it. And in some of these outposts, you'll discover alien dudes like sitting there typing stuff into a data pad, and you can trade with them, or they will ask you a question, but you can't understand their language. That's the thing. I skipped over that.
Can you murder them for being different?
No.
Yeah.
You cannot pull. You can get into combat with your multi-tool on the planet surface, and these they're called Sentinels. They're these little robots. They're flying around everywhere. They're like on every planet. It's like some robot race that like is this ancient race that protects everything. So if you shoot animals on the planet, or if you start blowing up tons of plutonium ore on the planet, like these things will race over and like point their scanners at the ground, and then they'll point their scanners at you, and they'll kind of follow you around for a while. And if you start blowing up more shit in front of them, they'll like go into arrest mode and start shooting at you. And you can blow them up and loot their bodies for materials. It's pretty cool. I fought a couple of those guys. When I was talking about the monolith, there are these little stones around it. You can walk up to those and you interact with it, and it says, you just learned the word special in this alien race's language. And so then when you come across that alien race in one of these outposts, or as a pilot of a ship, they'll print out a little sentence at the bottom, and it'll say, bleep orc googly bloobly special, and then a bunch of other garbage that you can't read.
Does it really say that?
No, not googly bloop, but it's just all gibberish. And then interspersed in that sentence will be the words from that language that you have learned while you're out walking around.
So, all right, but is it, like Latin kind of script? You know what I mean? Like they're letters we would understand, or is it like alien symbols and whatnots?
It's some weird symbols too, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of mixed. Yeah, like it's not all just like English letters.
Okay, all right. But I mean, that seems like a pretty cool way to handle all that stuff.
It's really neat, and so and that adds to the story. Like, so you'll find some guy, and he'll say, you'll only understand 2 words out of a sentence, and then there will be 3 choices. And one of them will be give the guy 10 carbon, or don't give him anything, or do this third thing. And you pick one of those, and like he'll react and say, oh, the alien appears to be very happy, and he's giving you something. And then you get like a mod for your multi-tool, or a component for your engine or whatever. And so as you go further through the game, you'll interact with those things more, and you'll learn more of the language. And then there's like a reputation system, and it'll say when you encounter one of these people, it'll say you are currently have a neutral status with this race. So you can kind of use that when you're answering one of the questions. Like it might have like a speech check on it, where it'll say this is like an allowed interaction if you have this reputation with this race. If you're neutral, or if you are considered a customer, or if you're considered a friend, you can choose that knowing that it's going to be an okay response. But if you're not currently at that level. I didn't actually do any of those to see what he would say. Actually, I did. He said the alien doesn't want to talk to you anymore, and then I couldn't talk with him after that. So I pissed him off. So there's a lot of like I feel like I've done that before in other games, but it feels different enough that part of it.
Yeah, well, you don't. I mean, I guess when I think of No Man's Sky, the first thing I think of isn't I'm gonna run into an alien race besides the animals on the planet. That's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I wasn't expecting that at all. So, and there's tons of ships flying around. Like you'll just be on a planet and ships will fly over your head. And at the very beginning of the game, it's very freaky because you just have no fucking idea what's going on. And at that point, it to answer the chat's question, it does seem really, really big and just mysterious. Like it just, I'm actually interested in, because I bought it on PS4, and I'm just going to buy it on PC as well because I want to see what the graphical differences are. There is a lot of pop in on PS4. I would equate it to like playing Borderlands or Borderlands 2 on a console where the texture is there. And it just kind of becomes a better resolution as it loads in. It's not really distracting at all. The planets are fucking massive. Like the draw distance is insane, and it looks really good. There'll be like a nice fog effects on the planet, but as you'll get closer to things, like the detail will kind of appear, and it's not very jarring. It kind of fades in, kind of nice. It's obviously just like a limitation because they are doing so much shit. Like you can be standing on the planet, look up in the sky and see another planet up there, get in your fucking ship and just fly there and then get out on the ground on the other side and turn around and look back at the planet you were just on. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I kind of want that game to be. I wish you didn't have the intergalactic parents keeping you from having a good time on a planet or two.
Well, and so that stuff's like interspersed. Like when I was down in that cave, I was blowing up everything, and they weren't down there. So there are places you can hide from them. You can also just blow them up. So I imagine as you get better and better weapons, you're going to decide to have a shootout with these stupid little robots. And I've seen just from screenshots and trailers that there's like these big walking robots that are walking around. I'm assuming those are like level 2 sentinels or something. So, so that you're getting kind of a GTA police vibe. From that part of it, but I'm having a shitload of fun with it so far, and I can't wait for Friday when it comes out on the 12th because I want to pick it up on PC. My son and I generally just game together on the PlayStation, so I know he's going to be into this game, and so he can kind of have a version of it that he can fuck around in, and then I can go down and play it on the PC and kind of like curate a John only experience.
Double dipping already.
Yeah,
it's all right.
I mean, like, I'm not even...
I respect it. I respect doing it up front, not pussyfooting.
No, I'm not having any reservations about dropping another $60 on the PC version, so it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, that all sounds real cool.
Strong opinions.
It's really pretty game, too. And the graphics are...
Is it the best controls ever, though?
No, it is not a game called Inside.
All right. I'm holding you to that.
It's pretty
God
good.
is my witness. The next time you say... These are the best controls I've ever... Fucking Inside, motherfucker. You have been on the Inside bandwagon. And I've played that game now, too.
Have you finished it?
No, I have not.
No, then I want to talk to you.
This is going to turn back into a Tales from the Borderlands thing.
We do this every episode.
Yeah. God damn it. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay.
That is what I'm going to be playing next week as well. So
I'm glad that you've dipped into it. I have the game actually, and I haven't had time to sit down and play.
Yeah, make sure you've got at least 2 hours to dedicate to beginning that game. That'll get you to a good spot. It won't get you to you may, if you could figure out how to mainline it just based on what I've said, or if you just watched a couple of tutorial videos or something, I bet you could get to having that interstellar drive installed on your ship. I think you could probably do it in 2 or 3 hours.
So are you really on the first planet for 2 or 3 hours? Is that the deal?
No, you can get off there pretty quick. Like if you if the inventory systems kind of click for you and like you just kind of understand it right out of the gate. It took me a little while to figure out, okay, how do I craft something? And okay, now I got to have a blank spot. And There was a lot of I crafted some things that I didn't need to craft, which led me to having to go back out into the world and find more materials so that I could craft the right piece, that kind of shit. But I wasn't on the first planet for all that long. Hour and a half, maybe. And then after that, I went to maybe 2 or 3 more planets pretty rapid succession because I started following that storyline. It's fun as fuck, man.
All right, so how is this if I put on a Yes album and just kick back on the couch and play the first 2 to 3 hours of this game?
Yes songs or 9125, Owner of a Lonely Heart or
No, you got to go back further than that, man. You got to go 70s. Yes, like the concept album.
Yeah, Yes songs. Yeah, that's my favorites. Okay, I bet that would be pretty good. You probably don't need it because the soundtrack for this game is also fucking incredible. What's the name of the band? It's 65 Layers of Static or something like that is the name of the band.
I don't know, but that's a great band name.
Yeah. I think that's it. Let me look it up here. 65.
If it's not taken, that's us now.
I can't remember what it's called. It's something like that. 65 something Static. Maybe 65 Static. I don't know. Anyway, so the soundtrack in the game is also procedurally generated. So they've obviously created 65 Days of Static is the name of the band. They've created modes and phrases in the game that all work together, but how it is kind of served up to you is very obviously dependent on what you were doing when you are down in a cave and you are in no danger. It's this kind of mellow, serene, synthesizers, maybe a little guitar here and there. But then, when I was underwater and started drowning, the music started getting really intense. When you come across, you're flying along and then you land next to an outpost, the music will start, kind of swelling up as you approach the door. And it's very good at seeming like it is a program soundtrack. Like this is supposed to be happening right now. It in my experience so far, it has done a really good job of adding to the feeling of the game. Which is really cool, and it's good music. It's interesting to listen to. There's a lot of games where one of the first things I do is turn the music off because I just want to hear the game, and I have not had that urge at all yet in No Man's Sky. So,
Justin, I'm gonna need you to break out the Sound Forge. Because we are going to copyright 65 Layers of Static. And our new album will be out soon.
Done.
Concept album about No Man's Sky.
That's right.
Or actually, if we want to get meta, a concept album about the music in No Man's Sky.
About 65 Days of Static?
Yes.
65 Layers of Static.
Covers.
65 Days of Static.
Yeah. I have another great idea for a cover band, by the way. The band would be called The Politics of Contraband.
Nice.
And it's a Smuggler's Blues cover band.
Little Glenn Fry, huh?
Not Glenn Fry.
Oh.
Just Smuggler's Blues.
Just Smuggler's Blues. Just that song by
that
Glenn
song.
Fry. And that's all you play?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
We're looking for some gigs.
We got some tapes out.
Yeah. All right. So, what have I been playing? I have been playing some Inside. That it turns out is a real good game. I have not played it to completion. I hit a point actually in the game where I just don't know what the fuck to do, and I keep trying stuff and I keep dying right away. And
can you describe it in a vague way that would let me know where it is?
There is a bathysphere in the game.
Yep.
And there is a point when you're in the bathysphere that there is a bit of an enemy.
Yeah, that's so good.
And it's
so good.
I can't figure out how to get past this fucking thing. But there was another part that I don't think I figured out that puzzle, and I can't get back to it.
Mm.
So I don't know if I fucked myself by not getting something I might have needed or some piece of information I
I
might
don't
have
think
needed.
that's possible.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll talk about this off the air. I don't. Right now, I just sound so cryptic about it.
I'm going to just say one thing, and maybe you're past this part, but your bathysphere has a light on it.
Son of a bitch. Okay. All right.
Okay. All right.
That already makes some sense, and also kind of pisses me off.
So I had a point in that game where I just got straight up stuck as well, and the solution was like move 5 feet to the left, and it took me like a half an hour.
All right. So let me say this about this game. Then, I think Inside is gorgeous for beginsies. That it is one of the most beautiful games I think I've ever played. I will admit that the controls are really responsive and they feel right. Like there's a momentum to the character, and particularly when you're in the bathysphere thing. That's what I've been playing.
They're really tight when you're driving that thing. I love the way that thing controls.
I really do too. I think that so far it's been really good. And again, I'm just a big dummy. Now that you've said what you've said, I'm like, oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So the puzzles have generally...
I died there too.
A bunch. Like, to the point...
It's so fucking gruesome.
It is. And to the point where I was like, I'm about to open the balcony door and hurl this controller. I'm so pissed off right now. Because I know it's going to be something simple, which it was.
Yep.
And I don't want to look it up. You know? Like, I want to think about it. And
the temptation is so hard. Like, when I got stuck in that spot, I probably died 30 times before I just went, oh.
See,
I'm an idiot.
I've died more than that, and I just haven't taken the leap yet of...
Yeah. So with games like that, this illustrates one of the reasons why I play games where there is a skill setting. I always play them on easy, because I just want to play the game and enjoy it, and I don't want to get irritated by it. And a game that used to do that to me all the time was Call of Duty. And so whenever I play the campaign on like a shooter, I would just play it on easy, because, then if I get stuck and I do look it up, I don't feel bad because I'm playing on easy. I'm not ruining any great attempt or anything here. So I feel like as I get older, my shame in looking up solutions has just basically vanished.
I still can't do it.
I know it's hard to get over that. But
like, I can't play on easy. I gotta play on normal. I gotta, at the very least, I gotta feel like normal.
I'll do it on some things, but the moment it starts kicking my ass and I feel like, oh god damn it, like.
I should do that more. I know. I really should, because it keeps me from playing games sometimes.
And that's what I didn't want anymore. I was just like, I'm not going to play this game if it's going to be this hard, so I'm just going to make the game easier.
Well,
yeah. Fallout was really good about that, where you could just go into the menu and change the difficulty on the fly.
Yeah. And then it just like you take less damage all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But
and then you can turn it back up. Like if you're that's the beauty of those games that have that system in it, where it's like, I cannot get past this fucking spot. I'm just going to make these guys easier to kill, and then I'll turn it back up. And what started happening with me was I just didn't turn it back up to normal anymore. So I just started playing shit on easy because it was more fun.
But Justin, for you, because we've established this very episode that you're into really super semi stuff, which is also, if not difficult, at least complex. So when you hear us talk about this, are you just like, you pussies?
No, I respect that there are people who just want to play the game and they don't want to have as difficult of an experience. I mean, I have attempted some of those Call of Duty games on like Veteran and things like that, and it's there. Some part of it is fun. But I would rather play the story first on like normal, and then go back to a mission that I really liked, and then try and play that, on a more difficult setting.
And I don't want an easy button in like DayZ. Like I want that game to be hard. You know, so
Yeah.
that's one of the things that makes that game good. But when it's just some shooter and it's you died, try this section again that's already irritating the shit out of you. Like it's a little different than like a simulation game where I could always just turn around in DayZ and go the other direction. Like I have more control over my destiny in that game than I do in like a Call of Duty where it's just a shooter on rails.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna keep punishing you with the same section that you can't get past. So
Yeah, and actually there are some kind of monster boxes in the Uncharted games.
yeah,
That where the skill level kind of ramps up drastically real quick. That I finally pushed through it, but it was like, man, this is almost like I've been enjoying the flow of this game so much that now when I'm in this battle arena where people are launching grenades at me all the time, it's like I'm just I'm dying a bunch of times. It's just going to be that one time that I get my rolls just right and all that stuff, and that's okay. But that game is so story driven. I didn't feel like it needed that kind of stopping point of like, all right, let's see what you've learned in this game. It just, I think it depends on the game is what I'm getting at. I think you're right. Like DayZ doesn't need an easy mode,
yeah,
but something that's more narrative or at least casual is fine,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
All right. I feel like we've really settled something here.
I feel like we've all grown in our own way.
Yeah, we've come to be a little closer as people, and that's really what it's all about. I mean, fuck all the video game stuff. It's just about making friends and being happy,
And then playing video games with them.
and then playing
Yeah.
video games.
And then shooting them in the face online, even when they're on your team.
I gotta be honest. I am kind of bummed that you just can't go around murdering everyone you see in No Man's Sky.
Yeah, there's areas where you can do that. You can engage in space combat as well. And then when you blow up somebody's ship, you collect their loot from their ship. But as far as just like pulling out your gun in the station and blowing somebody's brains out, it does not let you do that. So
Kind of a bummer, really.
it's really cool. You're gonna like it.
Yeah,
too.
no, I know I am.
Yep.
Like that's the thing. I have no doubt that I'm going to have a good time with the game. I just am not crazy about the fact that it's not, or at least not superficially telling me like, oh, you can just go and do really weird sandboxy stuff.
Yeah.
Consequence free, like even in like the Elder Scrolls games and stuff like that, like you could kill shopkeepers you kind of needed, and I don't know, I don't know why I want that in this game. Like it's gonna be the most peaceful casual game I play probably, but there's part of me that's like, yeah, but what if I just want to go GTA on this whole galaxy for a minute, and I get it's not the thing.
You just want to destroy a planet and then just book it out of there and just never come back.
Yeah, I just want to leave them in my dust, man. Like, lay waste and just have that bad Sunday. So, let me tell you about the other game I've been playing, which is a bunch of Atlas games. Last episode, I talked about playing some Persona 3. And, I ended up, all right, I'm kind of burying the lead a little bit. On a real goofy whim, I ended up picking up a Wii U off of the Craigslist on the cheap.
And the headline is that you didn't get murdered?
No, I did not.
You didn't? Okay, you didn't.
And the guy delivered, which made me feel weird. So, that's a brilliant idea. There should be a video game delivery service. yeah. Well, it's called Amazon.
I mean, it's Amazon, yeah. I mean, no,
Right.
but it's like there should be one where like I call up my guy, like we call up Jerry.
You want a video game dealer?
Yeah,
It's like, all right, look, I can let you have, Olympic volleyball for like $250. But if you want No Man's Sky, man, that's $85.
yeah. I'm running out. Like everybody wants No Man's Sky right now.
Everybody up on the No Man's Sky right now, but beach volleyball, right here, like, all day long.
Does Jerry have Battletoads?
Jerry's got everything, man.
Battletoads 750.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's not that good.
That's yeah.
It's not very good. So the one I've been playing the most, and the video of you and I looking at this game is going to go up probably tomorrow.
Nice.
Is Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE.
What?
Huh?
Yeah. It all kind of makes sense in the context of the game, which I will not be able to explain to you.
That's the exact same reaction I think I had in the video, Justin. I just went, wait, what? Huh?
I'll tell you, when I was watching that video again, as I was going through the edit on it, the line that cracked me up the most, and listeners, keep an eye out for this one. It's when I have to say, Tiki is an oodaloid. And as if that's a thing that exists ever in any context.
Who is this guy? Well, Tiki is an oodaloid.
Yeah.
And-
Oh, okay.
She is a digital pop star who has a kind of a creepy girlfriend.
all right. So what is this game? Start at the beginning.
All right, Tokyo, because it's set in Tokyo.
Okay.
Mirage. Mirage, because mirages are ghost kind of demon things that have come to our realm who steal our performa.
So we're just making stuff up.
You're just so, like, you have a chart on your wall of words and you're just like pointing to them.
No, this is all accurate.
Okay.
I've played enough.
No, I know. I saw the video and I'm still, yeah. I actually thought I dreamt it until you just said that, oh, that video is going up. I thought that was a dream that I had.
Yeah, some delirious fever dream.
Okay, bad fish or something, you know.
So, Mirage, because they're the demons stealing our performa. Our performa, as you all know, is the spirit within us to offer song and performance to make others happy.
Obviously.
Sure. That's basic science. And Sessions, so the game ultimately is kind of a dungeon crawling, turn-based combat game. And the Atlas games are those that I have played, and I have been just wallowing in them of late because they're so weird, guys. They're so weird. But all of these games have a system where if you initiate combat and you have an enemy that has a weakness to, say, fire, and you have an attack that speaks to that fire weakness, your other companions have these extra moves that are called sessions, which means that because of your action, they can now attack out of turn and not lose their upcoming turn. It's just you're all ganging up on this dude. And Sharp FE, because there are Fire Emblem characters, I guess, that turn into weapons when you're in the turn-based combat. And
I mean, you're the one that played this fucking game.
Yeah,
and I love that your tone is, and this thing?
It's still hard to describe because we haven't gotten to the Bloom Palace. You have to watch the video. We don't have enough time to explain.
Who's the Oodaloid? What's her name?
Tiki.
Tiki
Tiki is the Oodaloid, who, as I said, is a digital pop star.
That should be the first track on 65 Layers of Static. Tiki is an Oodaloid.
Yeah, it writes itself.
But all right, so we looked at this game, and it's actually really pretty. It has a great message, ultimately, that I really respond to, as well as just being the weirdest shit you ever saw. And there's part of me that is into that, you know, that I'm just like, I've never seen this in a video game, and like, here's a guy who's going out on an audition to be like a Japanese hero, you know, kind of an Ultraman character. and he ends up playing a villain in a like touring group based on this hero, and he's incredibly happy about it, even though it's the crappiest acting job in the history of acting jobs. And it's just bizarre. I can't. So I've been playing some of that, and then mostly that, and then Persona 3 as well, which has the same kind of stuff in it. It's not about pop stars and stuff like Tokyo Mirage Sessions is. It is more about people turning into coffins after midnight, and then demons happen. It's just crazy.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions sounds like the World Series of Poker.
Yeah, it might as well be. It's really weird. Like I said, watch the video. It explains it a little bit better, maybe, but I don't know that anything other than playing the game can really ever explain that game. The game explains itself in its own terms.
Experience is comprehension.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So the other game I've been playing a ton of late is actually old school XCOM Enemy Unknown.
That's a good game.
Man, I don't know what crazy dark magic hit me, but I was just kind of on a whim decided I wanted to play some of that because I remembered how much fun I had with it, and I've been playing that game a ton lately.
Do you have the is that the version with the expansion on it?
No, I have both. I have Enemy Unknown on PC, and that's where I started.
Okay.
And then I have Enemy Within
that's
on
right,
the 360,
yeah.
which is the DLC, which is kind of a reskin of the original game.
Yeah.
With some new stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm having the same great time that I had with it the first time. Like naming the being able to customize those characters was such a genius move. Because it that's the most fun part of the game is the stories that you're creating, where you have these characters that survive a bunch of missions where you do stupid stuff because that's all you do in XCOM is like, oh, I'm going to move this guy over here. Oh, it revealed this nest of aliens that are now going to flank me and murder everyone in my group. And
Lieutenant Tokyo Mirage is never gonna make it out of this.
I haven't done that, but now that you say it, that could probably happen. Yeah, it's really strange to kind of fall back into that game. I never didn't like it, but I kind of fell in love with it all over again. And like I said, the emergent stories of like naming all the Marines and stuff after like you guys. So I'm like, oh, John Dolan died horribly, making a foolish error.
He wasn't really all that good in the apocalypse after all.
Right.
Braggart.
It's just like the Oregon Trail, man.
I was dying dysentery. Actually, I always died fording the river. Always.
Yeah,
Got greedy.
There was one named after Power listener Andy, who died missing the easiest shot I've ever, like the easiest dice roll that game has ever given me.
93%, you're gonna make this shot.
Dude,
Whoops.
it was a solid 95.
Oh man.
And I was like, and because I was fighting one of the bosses. It's the alien base mission where, you're kind of going to the core of the alien base, and the main bad guy had one hit point left. Power listener Andy's namesake was out of ammo on the main weapon, but all I had to do was flip over to the pistol and just like, I got to do 1 point. That's all. That's all I got to do is hit with this pistol. 95% missed. And then got murdered immediately. It was like, you deserve that. If you can't hit a 95% accurate, anyway.
Sometimes you're sad when you lose soldiers. Sometimes you're not.
Overall, we had a great run, but now when I look on that memorial board in the game, it's the missed shot that I think of.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been playing.
Have you played the new one, or do you own it?
XCOM 2, yeah. It kind of flips the script on that game a little bit in terms of just the story, because you're kind of in the first game you're like this big multinational group and getting funding from all these countries, and in XCOM 2 you're kind of the resistance. And you're kind of underfunded and all that stuff. But, it's still the same basic game. You're still kind of going in between the turn-based, tactics-based strategy game and, the base building stuff and upgrades and all that. It's still super fun. It's a great game. And I do like one thing that they do in XCOM 2, which you may remember having heard about, is the ambush system, where you can kind of hunker down in wooded areas, and like as a transport or a group of soldiers is rolling through, you can surprise them and just murder the shit out of people, and that is always satisfying in those games.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And Chad was saying that there's a board game of XCOM, and I've never played it, but I would be down for it. Like that, I would be totally open to trying that game until it got hard, and then I would throw the board out the window, as we have established.
Just look up the answer on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
YouTube strats for your board game. I wonder if that's a thing. Maybe we could corner the market.
Hot XCOM board game strats. Like,
that's right.
Just excuse myself from the table every time it's my turn. Like, all right, let me YouTube how to counter this maneuver.
Generally, after a blue draw 2 has been played against one of my opponents, I like to go for a wild draw 4 card in this point.
Man, the reverse draw 2 is my jam.
Yeah.
That's a real fuck you card.
Some YouTube Uno strats.
Yeah, that's our other podcast. Eventually, that's
Uno strats.
This is what's going to devolve into. It's just us talking about Uno and how to really screw up a lifelong friendship.
Min-maxim Uno.
Yeah. Yeah. You just stock up on wild draw 4s. It's going to be fine. Be fine. All right, guys. Let us take a break here. So we're going to pause the stream for a moment, and we'll be back in about 5 and do some news and questions, comments, recipes, and give away a copy of No Man's Sky. So that's going to be awesome. So
sweet. Yeah. That
right.
will be awesome.
Yeah, right. We've never done anything like that before. That's real stupid.
Yeah.
All right. So let me find my picture of Eddie Deason, and then we'll be able to go.
You want to leave our recordings going?
Yeah, might as well.
All right.
And
that makes me nervous when I don't get to save things.
I know. But it's gonna be okay.
All right.
And we're muting the audio right now. We'll be back in about 5, guys. All right, we are back. It is part 2 of episode 2 of the Schadecast.
Episode 2, the two-inning.
The the seconding. Johnny Dolan.
Yo.
You know, if there's one thing I love more than video games, it may be video game news. And I was wondering if you had some.
I might take the opposite view.
Yeah.
Video game news is a pain in the ass. There's a lot of real garbage out there. And so this week, I put together an email every week and send it to Bo and Justin and include all the news stories we're going to talk about in it. And I always try to keep myself sane while doing it because sometimes perusing through all the garbage is painful. And I thought, what would make that easier to do? And I thought if I had a video game news helicopter, that would help. And if I did, what helicopter would that be? And I chose Blue Thunder because I don't think there's a better answer to that question. What do you guys think?
It's pretty great.
A video game news chopper.
That is also heavily armed and in inner stealth mode. And, I mean, not today we don't want Roy Scheider piloting it. But back then, Roy Scheider? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
He was the captain of Sequest.
Was that show any good? I never watched that show.
I liked it when I was a kid, and then I tried to watch it maybe 6 or 7 months ago, and it does not hold up.
That's too bad.
Famous dead child star Jonathan Brandis was in it, right?
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Sidekicks.
Was he in like the second?
Never Ending Story, that's right.
Yeah.
He was also in a movie called Sidekicks with Chuck Norris.
Mad that I know that.
I saw the Never Ending Story 2 on LSD when I was in college.
Now I like
our
it.
theater, and it was just fine.
Was it worth it?
I mean, it was $1 plus,
Okay.
The cost of the tab.
Plus a lifetime of nightmares.
It was pretty great. Although it took a while to get to the Muppets, which was a big problem for me at the time.
I was told there would be giant puppets.
Yeah, where's the big Muppet flying dog? I'm tripping balls here. Let's do this.
It's some rock biters, man.
Right, I don't need this kid's backstory. I don't care about his family.
Oh, his parents are divorced. Boo-hoo.
Right. Cry me a river, man. Let's get you on the back of a flying dog.
All right, so now that we have a new Blue Thunder video game news helicopter, I filed this under, hey, I have a chopper that might be able to help with this. The headline is, New York governor bans sex offenders from Pokemon Go and calls on Niantic for help. And the governor of New York is banning paroled sex offenders from playing Pokemon Go and asking that the game's creator block those homes from attracting players. Do you think?
Yeah.
Let's see. In the wake of a report by state senators Jeffrey Klein and Diane Savino, which showed that 73% of the 100 offender addresses checked were within a half a block of a Pokemon stop or a gym in New York City. I mean, I bet if you looked at the sex offender registry, they're probably pretty evenly distributed. I don't know. I mean, I may be just making that up, but yeah, I guess you don't want them hanging out at Pokemon stops.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You can't fault the logic. But at the same time, from like a design standpoint, you're just not thinking about child molesters during the development of a video game. And
the problem with that is so they're asking them for help. So, all right, so let's remove all the gyms and Pokestops that are anywhere near registered sex offender residences. But then what if that person moves? Like, how much of a database nightmare does that become, keeping track of all that? I like, not that you wouldn't want to do it, but just, the hours it would take to keep that system updated is massive. I mean, it's almost untenable from a perspective of you realize you're paying someone to do this now. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's.
Yes,
I mean,
I
just
see the logic, but
yeah, it's just
is that possible?
It's such a sad place we've reached in our society too, where it's like, look, there's so many of these that we gotta.
Yeah.
Like it's enough to make the news.
The sex offender to Pokestop ratio is too high. That's
right.
That's sad.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, that said, I can't go near a school, but don't play Pokemon Go either, so I think everybody's safe.
Problem solved. File this wonder. Hey, I have a chopper that might be able to help with this. Pokemon Go trespassing spurs lawsuit against Nintendo, Pokemon Company, the Pokemon Company, and Niantic. Specifically one dude, but I think I've seen headlines of a couple other cases of this have popped up. But a New Jersey man is suing the companies behind Pokemon Go after discovering that a augmented reality Pokemon in his backyard was attracting strangers to his home. Says Pokestops and Pokegyms are on private property without the owner's consent. He said that he discovered this, according to the suit, after strangers began lingering outside his home with their phones in hand. I mean, yeah, but it's so weird. Like, people are trespassing because of a virtual thing that doesn't really exist. I don't know. Video games are fucking weird, man.
At the same time, though, have some common sense and.
Yeah, and that goes on. Like, I totally get this guy's point. It says, at least 5 individuals knocked on the plaintiff's door and asked for access to the plaintiff's backyard in order to catch Pokemon. Like, yeah, that'd be irritating. I don't like it when people knock on my door that have, like, a legitimate reason, other than, like, a pizza delivery or, some sort of...
People you have invited and expect there.
Like, pizza delivery guy, UPS guy, mailman... Girl Scouts selling cookies. That's acceptable. I like Girl Scout cookies. But really, I mean,
that's my Pokemon.
Girl Scout cookies.
What I mean?
Yeah.
It's like someone coming to your house and being like, "Can I get in your backyard and take that dog?" And you're like, "That's my dog that I've had." I would get really defensive if someone wanted to come in my
That Pokemon is
backyard.
mine, motherfucker. If I catch you in my backyard, I'm coming out with my goddamn shotgun.
Chad has a good idea of turning Pokemon Go into a horror movie, since you can only see the Pokemon with your phone.
Yeah, it's nice.
Do that like kind of Ouija style, where you're like, oh, I got to look through the planchette and see a CGI.
It's not bad.
Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah. Thus concludes the Pokemon Go news. Thank God.
That's a shame.
I couldn't pull anymore, man. I'm so tired.
I just, I've never, I never downloaded it. I feel like the wave is receding on Pokemon Go now.
Yeah, it is.
And it totally skipped me, and I never, even when I knew about it, I was like, that doesn't sound like something I need to do.
It was interesting enough to see how it worked from like a programming perspective for me, but I don't know, like a day or two after it like exploded, I was done with it by that point. So I want to sit on my couch and play video games. I don't want to walk around.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of effort.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm outside all day, going to work, driving in traffic. I don't want to do that. Inside. The best controlling game ever created, according to me.
Yeah, sources say.
Put it on the box.
Source me. Is coming to PlayStation 4 in late August. The studio has confirmed this. Playdead Studios has confirmed it. There's not a specific date. I haven't seen an update. Actually, the 23rd? August 23rd? Not previously out. It's only available on. It's on Xbox, right? Or is it just? Yeah, it is. Xbox One and PC was how it released. Yeah. So
okay. That's right. It was a big.
Not that long of a wait. It's going to be very popular.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's good that it missed No Man's Sky, because I see there's a lot of people on my friends list, and there are a ton. Like if you go to YouTube streaming, And Twitch right now, all the top channels are playing No Man's Sky. So it's good to get out of the way of that, I think. So Inside's a real good game. Give it a try.
Now that I know the light thing, I'm down too.
And there is no skill level to turn down in that game either. That's
No.
a figure it out game.
It's just you know.
That's one of
you're
the
just
sections
dumb
I was.
at a
That's one of the
certain
sections I was referring to when I called it Nightmare Fuel when I talked about it originally.
Yeah, that's really good. It is good. And when I finish that game, we'll do like a side podcast just all about that.
Yeah, it's good shit. Developer Fireforge. Fireforge Games has filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy just 3 days after launching their Ghostbusters game. It was reported...
I assume it didn't do well.
No, and it was reviewed horribly. Where is it? It was reported that they only actually worked on the game for 8 months before releasing it.
Wow.
According to a Kotaku source who worked on the game. This is funny. Oh, no, wait. I'm actually reading this off of Polygon. Fireforge owes a debt of at least $12 million. 11.3 of that is owned to the developer Tencent, who is the distributor for League of Legends. That's a Chinese company. Yeah. Something went really wrong on the Ghostbusters game. I saw like a quick look for it on Giant Bomb, and it just looks like total garbage. Like, it looks super boring. I don't understand why properties that are really cool and have such a great source just always end up being kind of half-assed video games. Like, there was a sort of decent Ghostbusters game that came out on, I think it was...
Yeah, it's the last one that came out. It was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite good.
Because it's voiced by and wrote by, I believe, all the original people. It was the last thing that they actually all worked on.
Yeah, and the gameplay for it's decent. It's kind of more of like a first-person thing, but like this one is, I don't know. It
kind of
reminds me of, like,
Diablo-esque, yeah. I mean, it was kind of a top-down
like
isometric.
it seemed like this would be a cool way to treat the Ghostbusters style and have it be like a Diablo thing, and it just looks really empty from what I've seen of it. So, big giant nope, just exploded. I don't know. Movies turned into games. Apparently, they still haven't figured that out. They've been working on that one for a while. In the last week's No Man's Sky news, somebody paid $1,300 on eBay for a copy of No Man's Sky. Somebody broke the street date and sold a copy on eBay, which I actually was surprised they were able to pull off that transaction, because usually eBay shuts that kind of shit down. But then as soon as that guy did it, he started posting. He posted a few videos, and he was talking in, I think it was it on Reddit? I can't remember where he was talking. But he said, yeah, I finished the game in 30 hours and got to the center of the universe. Like, he completed the story arc of the game in like 30 hours. And he said he found some sort of item in the game that allowed him to make a lot of money very quickly. And then he was able to just hoof it and get right to the center of the galaxy really fast. So an interesting thing that's happened since this story came out was there was a big fat day one patch on the actual release date on PS4 for No Man's Sky, which by some of the reports that I've read adds tons of the storyline content that I was talking about earlier, like with the Atlas, following the path of the Atlas and all that stuff. So apparently this guy that paid $1,300 to play this did not have any of that content. So I don't think that was $13 very well spent.
Right. And, I mean, there's the argument to be made, I suppose, that, the game on the disc wasn't necessarily complete.
Yeah.
Or at least not as feature-rich. But at the same time, I mean, it was a day one patch. The fact that you got it early, well, kind of your own fault, man.
It's on you. I mean, I don't have it and I haven't seen any news about this guy like looking for sympathy or anything. Like that's not the angle. But it was interesting that.
Yeah, well, he was talking. He was like, I have money to burn,
Yeah.
and this is going to make me happy. That was
Yeah.
basically his rationale for buying this.
Yeah.
He's like, if I get it now, I'm going to be happy. Like, cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, you probably would have been happy if you got it on Tuesday like everybody else, too, you know?
And just played it.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, you know, do what makes you happy is a good motto. That seems like a lot of money to pay just for a few days early on something. And then the fact that you actually didn't end up getting the experience. I don't know. I mean, it's from my experience with No Man's Sky, like that guy got his patch, you know, when it came out for everybody else, and I'm sure he's probably still playing it because I'm having a lot of fun with it too. So he's still enjoying the game as much as I am. It just seems crazy to spend that kind of money for a week early on something. I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine it. You know, like
Even if I had money to burn, like I hope that I'm never so rich that I don't understand the value of a $20 bill.
oh, I do. Jesus.
You know? Yeah, that's $20. Like I hope I never get so out of touch with value that I can't at least remember that feeling of, oh fuck yeah, $20.
Are you a
You know?
madman? Do you know how great it would be if you were just like $20? I mean, what is that, a gallon of milk? I don't know anymore.
No, I don't want to be like that. I don't know if I could feel good about myself.
I'll tell you
know.
what, I could rent plenty of ways to feel good about myself with forgetting about $20 money.
All right, well, come talk to me when I'm a millionaire. I'll probably have a totally different answer for you. So,
I kind of need to be if there's an apocalypse, because Apocalypse John.
that's right.
Maybe you got a price, you know?
Everybody has a price in the apocalypse.
Right. That's what I'm looking for. I need to make all that loot so I can bribe my way to survival.
I'll be walking around carrying all of my neighbors' guns and food and wearing a T-shirt that says "Scream if you want to go faster."
Do you
That's how
already
you'll-
own the shirt? Are you
No, not yet.
prepared?
No, I'm
Okay.
just gonna make that shirt. I'll find a shirt at somebody else's house. I'm sure somebody's got some Sharpies laying around. I'll just,
Take a little time out of the apocalypse to do a little arts and crafts. I get it.
Yeah.
Maybe build a little popsicle cabin while you're at it.
Yeah, and that's how you'll know it's me when you come looking. Oh, yeah, he said he'd be wearing that shirt. I got it all planned out.
Let's just have an understanding from this moment forward. In the event of an apocalypse, come get me. I'll be liquid.
You'll be the puddle outside of your apartment.
No, I mean liquid in terms of cash. I'll be
Oh,
able
okay.
to. I'll be able
All
to
right.
give you some cheddar.
Okay.
You know, a
Sweet.
little something for the effort.
Nice.
I can get you to Apocalypse, John.
That's right.
All right.
I can make it happen, Bo.
All right. Man,
Justin is apocalypse transporter.
God, if I coattail my way to survival, that would be great.
We'll look out for you, Bo.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. So there was one final thing. When all that stuff came out about this guy having the game early, Sean Murray, the lead developer from Hello Games, went on Twitter and said, "Hey, please don't watch this. Like, don't, do what you want, but don't ruin the game for yourself. Just wait a couple of days. It'll be better. Trust me." But my favorite thing about the article, it was on Eurogamer.net, and the photo that goes with the article, it was the picture of Indiana Jones and what was Karen Allen's character's name? Anyway, from
Marion Ravenwood, is that
Yeah.
what you're getting at?
Yes,
The love of my life.
I could depend on you. But it's the white dress, isn't it?
It's everything. It's the drinking, really.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? But the photo of them tied to the post at the end when all the spirits are going around and they have their eyes closed. I thought that was very good for the topic. Just don't look at it. We talked about the fix for No Man's Sky sprint button. Some guys developed a discovery tool for No Man's Sky. Let me just read the tool is NMS Tracker and allows you to keep a log book of sorts, which helps you keep track of planets you've been to. And you can tag what resources you found while you're on that planet. It's basically just, your own personal database, so you can kind of track your travels through No Man's Sky. I always like this kind of shit when it pops up, all these little companion websites. It's essentially somebody's just making a wiki, but it's like it's your wiki that you kind of create for your experience in No Man's Sky, which is a cool idea.
Yeah, that is a cool idea. All right. I mean, the whole thing is a personal experience anyway.
Yeah.
And
but
why not continue that? Yeah.
Having a way to track, oh yeah, that planet was really cool. Maybe I'll go back there. That kind of shit would be nice. I don't know if that's faced anywhere in the actual game. Like I'm just starting to get a handle on the menus and that thing. That was something I forgot to mention, actually. The menus in No Man's Sky basically work exactly like Destiny. You're moving a little circle around and hovering over parts of the interface, and it kind of slides around as you move up and to the right. The interface starts moving down and to the left, so you can meet up where you're going a little bit faster. It is just straight up lifted from Destiny.
I like that interface, though.
It's pretty good. It's actually probably the best thing about Destiny.
The shooting's real good.
Yeah, it's a nice menu, though.
The menu is fantastic. You were right.
And I just found...
Menu UI of the week.
Brought to you by Destiny, the game that you can stand to play. This is kind of funny. There's a bunch of brand new PS4 owners who went out and bought PS4s specifically so they could play No Man's Sky. A bunch of them turned out on Reddit because they thought that the game wasn't working, that it was locked up. And the problem was that the game was starting. At the very beginning of No Man's Sky, the word initialize just appears on the screen, and then there's a button prompt to hold down the square button. And like one guy went on there, and then a bunch of other people started commenting saying, yeah, I thought my game was locked up, and I rebooted my PlayStation. And none of them realized, because they were new PlayStation owners, they didn't realize that the square was telling them to push the square button. And when you look at it, like... The only reason I would know that is because I'm familiar with the controller and, have used the system before, I guess. When you see a square, that means push the square button.
I would know to do that because I have eyeballs and a brain.
Yeah.
And I can process that there is a square symbol in my hand
I know.
that my thumb can now press. Oh, and that symbol is now on the screen in front of me. I believe monkeys were taught to do something similar during the space program.
We send monkeys to the goddamn
Justin.
orbit.
I like it. No sympathy.
Wait.
Going for the Schadenfreude angle. I like it.
But all right. Clearly, there is something I'm missing about this story.
Like I could see being confused by that, but like
I can't. Give me 1 second here. Let me clarify something.
Yeah.
So
the white screen.
Right.
It's initialize ... Underneath it is a square and a circle.
Right. And I
That's
have a
it.
controller in my hand that has that same symbol.
It does.
On one of the buttons.
You're
Were
not
they
wrong.
trying anything? Like, if you hit all of the buttons, wouldn't you get there?
It seems like most of them were just sitting there waiting for it to load.
Oh.
They realized that there was an interaction. Yeah. There's some comments on, I think it was Reddit. I sat there for a good while thinking it was installing. Saw this guy streaming a few days back. He reset his PS4 because he thought it had crashed. What the fuck? Wasted 10 minutes of my life.
I mean, what are you going to do?
I have to have sympathy for these guys because I've had, and it's not, I don't think it's quite this bad, but I've had instances in games where I'm like, okay, I'm stuck. What am I supposed to do here? What is the next step? I know.
If the button prompt is on the screen, man.
Like I've had, I can't remember what game it was, but there was something where like it was a combination lock and you had to type in numbers and the numbers were literally on the fucking screen and I couldn't figure out what numbers I was supposed to type in. Like you would open your inventory to like interact with the thing and down at the bottom of the screen it said like 5427 and all you had to do was click the buttons until it said 5427 and it took me like a half an hour to figure it out because my brain was not making the connection. I don't know.
I still don't know that. Here's the upside though. Anyone who can't follow like the square in the circle button prompt, never gonna breed. Is never gonna find their way to a vagina. It's just it's way too much. It's too complicated. There are pulleys and levers, and there's no way it's ever going to happen. So
they thought they had lowest common denominator this, but what it actually needed was like press in front of that, press and then square. I think that's how you get so that they would.
Does it pulse or anything?
Not that I know. It was just I actually don't remember even doing that at the beginning of the game because
because you see the button, you're like,
you just press the button.
Hit square. Fair enough.
Square, boom, go.
I mean, if
I'm
I got
playing a game.
if I got stuck on that for any period of time, I would, and then figured it out, I would then realize that I probably need to start paying a little more attention to this video game because I'm in store for, something that's gonna challenge me.
Well, and so that was the best part of this was knowing what I know about the game and how kind of obtuse and non-handholdy it is at the beginning of it. These people were probably stuck on that first planet for a very long time. Luckily, it's real pretty there. And everybody gets their own planet. I watched a couple streams of people doing like the very beginning of the game and just completely different looking planets than the one I spawned on. It's so fucking cool.
All right, enough about No Man's Sky. What else?
Yes, that was the last.
Marry it already.
Yeah,
I will.
Best controls
Do it.
ever.
In a previous episode, we wondered how long a fan-made Battlefront 3 successor would last, and apparently it was not long after we wondered that because Lucasfilm has stepped in and closed down development on the fan-made Battlefront 3, and the idea behind this was it was a bunch of fans of the Battlefront series were trying to make the sequel that they wanted, which is not the new Battlefront that came out this year. Was that this year?
Yeah, I guess.
And they were just trying to keep it truer to the style of the last couple versions of Battlefront.
I think the lesson to take away from this is that if you're a person who's working on a project like this, you should develop it to the point that you can release it.
Yep.
And it's just out there.
Yep.
At least in some form, so that everyone at least has the opportunity to play it, even if it is just some sort of demo.
Yep. Put it on some download site and let people get it in their hands. Like you got to shareware this or something if you're expecting to make any sort of money off of it. But you're right. You got to at least be able to get it out there. And now they've been warned not to do that. So they're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like I know people will want to get really excited and like maybe they won't need more help with it. I understand the reason that you would want to advertise that you're working on something like this, but it just like almost behooves you to almost put something like fake out there, like, oh, I'm working on this game that's like this, but don't ever mention the copyright aspect of it, and then just put it out.
Right, call it a spiritual successor to Battlefront, and let a modder quote reskin it with Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then it just happens.
Yeah.
Which I think that's the plan, or to some degree, I thought with this game was to now after the fact to just redo the assets.
Yep, they're just gonna make all original models was the last quote on it.
Yeah.
But the guy who created this, I can't find his first name. Tony Romanelli talked to Lucasfilm, and the quote is, "I was told that Lucasfilm had already spoken with EA about Galaxy in Turmoil," which is what this was called, and that EA expressed no desire in letting our project to continue, Romanelli wrote. Their main concern was due to the possibility of Galaxy in Turmoil taking away attention from their Battlefront franchise. I tried to pitch the idea about putting Galaxy in Turmoil behind EA's paywall, but was told that EA had previously rejected that proposition as well. So,
sounds like they're scared.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Well, I mean, part of it, I would think, is what if this is what people want?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
and so that's the thing. I've got another news story that's coming up here that is the same thing, and it is a somebody remade Metroid 2. They like kind of modernized it and started showing it around. Same situation, and Nintendo shut it down. And I don't like Nintendo's never gonna fucking make this game and sell it. And here's an opportunity. Some guy has seen a hole in the market and has generated all of the buzz for you. Buy it from him and sell it yourself and then make some free money. You had to put zero effort in. Like, give him a low ball and then just reap all the benefits. Like, I'm sure this guy would part with it, or he would take a small percentage of the profits after doing all the work, and then you basically just get free money. So, yes, EA, you have a new Battlefront game out, but there's obviously interest in this thing that this guy's creating. So why not make money off of it? I don't understand when they just turn it off like that. Like, it seems like both can exist. Like, I can't imagine they're selling tons of copies of Battlefront right now. Like, I'm sure it's still fairly popular, but obviously those sales have dipped. And hey, here's a free opportunity to make some money, or a very low cost opportunity to make some money. Unless they've already just run the numbers on it and said, nah, we're not going to make anything with this. That's the only reason I could see them just saying shut it down. But then if they don't think they can make money off of it, then why shut it down? Because it's just reinforcing your brand. Like, the game is, seems pretty cool. This Metroid game seems cool. This Star Wars idea seemed like they actually were doing some decent work. I guess I just don't understand somebody likes our product so much that they're making a version of it for free. And instead of figuring out a way to make money off of it because it is our license and we have the right to do that, they just turn it off. I don't quite understand that.
Yeah, I think, like you said, somebody had to do the math on that. I mean, so there has to be some sort of business justification, you would think, beyond, we don't want them to do this, and so shut up.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many occurrences of companies like being cool about it that like they get huge, followings of fans who are very dedicated. Like, if EA, and they're always one of like the most hated companies because just all the weird shit that they pull like this. So here's a chance to have some goodwill, and it's going to cost you $0 and say, yeah, you know what? This might step on our brand a little bit, but we appreciate that this guy is such a fan of our stuff, and we're just going to let it slide. And then everybody's like, yeah, fucking A, EA, way to be cool about it, And then you get some of those fans back, and then people aren't saying, I'm never buying EA products again. They have an excuse to say the opposite now. Yeah, they were really cool about that thing with this, version of Star Wars or whatever. I think that shit goes a long way. Like, it's really fucking hard to generate goodwill when you're some, multi-billion-dollar corporation. So why not take every opportunity, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It doesn't make any sense, but...
Yeah. Move on.
Yeah, right. Right, like...
Yeah. Next game, please.
There's lots of problems we can solve. This ain't one of them.
This ain't one of them, yeah. In our... we had a remembrance last episode.
Yeah.
Memoriam, that's the word I'm looking for. Video gaming magazine pioneer Joyce Katz has died. She was the... publisher of Electronic Games, which is a magazine I barely remember from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was originally published in 1981, and I think it had a run until about 85. But the cool thing about it that I found was, so this is an article from Polygon. It's just Video Gaming Magazine pioneer Joyce Katz dies is the title of the article. And within that article, there is a link that is the 81 to 85 run of the entire magazine archived in PDF form. And it's just straight up scans of every one of these old Electronic Games magazines. And the fucking covers are hilarious. And the ads in the magazines are hilarious. And they're nice, like, high-res scans. Like, you could probably print these out. And I don't know, man. They're just fucking super cool. There's an ad for your joystick will never be the same.
Go on.
Games by Apollo Inc. And the games are Racquetball, Space Chase, Skeet Shoot,
Go on.
Space Cavern. Lost Luggage.
Tell
and
me more about Lost Luggage.
and Lockjaw, which appears to be some sort of a shark game.
Are you sure this isn't just a story being told in sentence fragments?
No.
All right.
1300 East Arapahoe Road, Richardson, Texas 75081. Games by Apollo Incorporated. I'm sure they're still around. There's some really cool stuff in here. The Astrocade Professional Arcade gives you more. This is a video game system I do not remember there's an advertisement for it here in this magazine.
I actually encountered one of these.
Really?
Yeah.
Astrocade?
Yeah. It's the one. It looks like a miniature arcade cabinet.
Yeah, it's like a bar top slots shape thing. Yeah,
and you put the overlay on the screen.
Yeah.
My cousin Johnny had one.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, I have to admit.
There's an article in this issue I'm looking at about Coin Op Records set, and it looks like it's a picture of a bunch of guys that set records in Tempest. What is this one? Centipede, like early 80s. It's a photo of all these guys who are like record holders in these games or something. There's some cool shit in these magazines. Anyway, yeah, it's all free. Go to Polygon, look up the Video Gaming Magazine Pioneer Joyce Katz, and scroll down, and you can look at all these cool old magazines. Some neat stuff in there.
Speaking of cool old magazines,
yeah, the Internet Archive released the first 13 years of Nintendo Power magazine for free, which I actually still have a bunch of issues of that. I read that. I just went to it. It has been taken offline by Nintendo.
Of course.
Really?
Well, I know.
Why? Why? Were you going to fucking sell the first 13 years of Nintendo Power again? Why?
Yeah.
Why would you take that down? That is so fucking stupid. I don't get it. Why? I don't understand. I can maybe get the Battlefront one. I can maybe get the Metroid 2 thing. But you're not going to sell these fucking magazines again. How? Whatever. It just pisses me off. Bo, have you tried out the new expansion in Hearthstone? The One Night in Karazhan?
I have not.
That exists. For anybody out there who's still Hearthstone player, I check in with that every once in a while. I haven't tried this one out yet, but I did read an article that people are really pissed off about a card that they put in the Priest deck as a new card that comes from this expansion. And the entire function of the card is you play it, and it silences one of your own minions, and then you lose a card. People are like,
that's a real jerk move. Yeah, screw that card. That's terrible.
So apparently they've actually removed that card from tournament play already because it's like everybody's like, what? This is useless. So anyway, a minor hiccup in the road to world domination from Blizzard, but I've heard good things about that expansion. It's supposed to be pretty cool. So
yeah, and I feel like they're probably gonna get everything back on track.
Yeah,
they'll be fine.
Oh yeah, we heard you. We fixed it. No criminal charges have been filed against 38 studios. This is the studio that did, and I'm going to blank on the goddamn name.
Kingdoms of Amalur.
Amalur, yes. Kurt Schilling, the famous baseball pitcher, ran this studio and famously ran the studio into the ground. They had, I forget what their debt was, but the debt was paid by the state of Rhode Island, where the studio was based, and people of Rhode Island got super pissed off about that and sued 38 studios for their money back, and apparently they're not going to get it. Well, they're getting some of the money back, but there won't be any criminal charges levied against the proprietors of 38 studios. The story has been swirling around for a long fucking time. I can't remember. Kingdoms of Amalur came out in 2012. think that's
My favorite comment from that article is, "At least the game didn't suck."
yeah. And what I played of it was decent, but yeah, they ran up some serious fucking debt. So
Yeah, I played some of it and had perfectly fine time.
yeah, 4-year long investigation seems like a lot of time. Like video games are really fucking hard to develop. Like they're not the first company to go under. I don't know. It's just a weird, like, I don't even know what to say about it. Like the amount of effort that has gone into this thing now seems like a lot.
Yeah, and I'm sure that because there was a political agenda involved.
Yeah, I know a lot of goddamn money too. So
Right, but you've gotta the citizens, or at least a group of citizens in Rhode Island, were probably rightfully very pissed about it,
Yeah.
and politicians have to pay lip service to that, which means they have to form a commission, and that costs money. And at the end of the day, it was like, yeah, they borrowed some money, they went bankrupt, that's what happened, but because they borrowed money from Rhode Island,
yeah.
So
they 38 Studios got a loan in 2010 of $75 million. The studio declared bankruptcy in 2012, leaving that debt to the taxpayers of Rhode Island. Kurt Schilling himself was actually sued and was cleared of any criminal charges, obviously, in this case. But Kurt Schilling had a tweet on July 29th of this year after this case came through. And he tweeted, who did he tweet to? I think he tweeted to one of the prosecutors. And his tweet was, "Could have saved tens of millions more by telling you that 5 years ago. Disgusted to see officers sent on a fake-ass witch hunt."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I could have told you there was no criminal shit, So, I mean, I don't know.
Right. I mean, businesses go down all the time. It's
Yeah.
a sad truth of capitalism, but
I don't know. I always kind of look back at that story as an example of, like, even with a successful game that a lot of people liked, they just fucking tanked as a studio because they didn't, they didn't quite do it right. Like, it's a very fickle industry, and companies come and go really fast. So, cautionary tale, perhaps. What was my headline for this? What the fuck is it with Batman games? The Telltale series Batman skinned game has been ridiculed on Steam. Lots of problems with it. Resolution, people having tons of lag in the game, can't go full screen, a litany of problems that you would think would be solved before a game was released. And there's it's like the fucking Madden cover curse for athletes. Like, if you do a Batman property now, it's just going to be broken on PC. I don't know.
I just don't want to believe that's true. I like those games. I really do.
Just don't. It just keeps happening, though. I don't understand. This was reported in a tweet. I can't remember what the tweet that set this off was, but somebody tweeted to the @Hitman Twitter account asking about will there be more seasons or something, and the @Hitman official Twitter account tweeted, "Of course, our plan is to have 3 seasons, although season 2 hasn't been confirmed yet." I've been playing lots of Hitman, and I think it would be fucking great if they just continued to support it in the way that they currently are. So that is good news. None of this is confirmed, other than this one sentence from their Twitter account, and who knows who has control of that thing. But I'm having a hell of a good time with that game. The new Thailand expansion comes out for that next week, I believe. And then there's also a planned USA mission and a Japan mission, and they keep putting out more of those elusive targets. I missed the elusive target this last week. I just completely forgot that it was going on. But yeah, more Hitman. I'm totally in favor of that. So I think they've totally got a platform built where they could easily just keep releasing seasonal content for it. The way that works is really cool.
I still feel like I need to get in on that game. I'm so close.
You do, man. It's really good. It's really good. I mean, it's as of right now, it's easily on my top 10 games of the year list. So, it's a fucking great Hitman game. And if you've never played a Hitman game, it's really easy to get into this one. Like, it's not like a hard game to play. There's just lots of systems within it that you can experiment with, and yeah, it's just a really good Hitman game. You still there? Oh, I just heard so and then nothing.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So they're releasing Thailand, and then there are still 2 more areas after that. Up to this point, there have only been 2 areas. There's been the Paris Mansion and the Sapienza mission, which is the Italian villa. There's also a third thing. If you just buy like the base introductory Hitman thing, which I think is $14.99, you get the Paris mission, and then you get these. They're kind of training missions. It's almost like a simulation mode where you're going onto a boat, but the boat is actually like a dry docked, 2x4s and plywood put together scenario for you to train in. It's still a Hitman mission, but it's not very big. But then there's all the, there's these elusive targets, which are like a one-time only hit, and if you fail, it's over with. They've released now a couple of extra missions that take place in the Sapienza map, where you're still doing the same map. One of them now takes place at night. There's another one where they've cordoned off a bunch of the map. Or sorry, the one that takes place at night is on the Marrakesh map that they released. So there's 3 areas. There's the Marrakesh, there's the Italian villa, and there's the Paris mansion. So there's going to be 6 total. So there's a night map on the Marrakesh one. So it's like an alternate hit for that map. And then there's the one for Sapienza where it's like a movie set, and you're trying to assassinate the star. I think they talked about it on the last episode. So there's just content coming, just bubbling out of this fucking game. There's just tons of different things to do in there. There's these things called escalation missions where you start the mission and it's assassinate this guy with this weapon, and then you have to, the next time you play through it, you have to assassinate this guy with this weapon while wearing this uniform. And then it just keeps adding more and more modifiers to it until it almost gets fucking impossible. Like assassinate this guy with this weapon in this location while wearing this outfit with no witnesses by the time you get to the end of the thing. So they just keep coming up with cool new ways to get you back onto these maps, but you're playing different content. You're assassinating different characters. You're using different tactics, different weapons. So they've invented a way in Hitman to get you to try all of the things you can do in Hitman. It's really cool.
Yeah, it seems surprisingly accessible.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's
all
really
right.
fun.
Cool.
Either of you guys play Pac-Man Championship Edition? They are releasing.
Can't say that I do.
Oh man, it's good. They're releasing Pac-Man Championship Edition 2. It is, a reimagining of Pac-Man. The original Championship Edition was a lot of fun, loud techno music, very bright neon-y style to it. This new one even seems like it takes it even further than that. It's just a really cool, fun Pac-Man game. It's fun to see that they can take a property like that and kind of keep it new and fresh. But that comes out on September 13th on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Check that out. Next week on the PC, if you go to, what's Ubisoft's thing? Uplay. If you go into Uplay, the free game for the month is Rayman Origins, which I've actually been playing with my son a bit. I have it on Steam.
Oh, that's a good game.
Fucking great. It's a really good platformer, man, and it's just gorgeous. It's so cute, and then like the cartoony style to it is great, and All the monster designs are really fun and just kind of ridiculous, and not the best controlling game ever, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I remember the jumping in that game in particular.
It's got like a float, yeah. So
yeah.
instead of a double jump, you have a jump, and then you hit it again, and then it slows your descent. You kind of float down. It's really good.
Yeah.
Starting on Wednesday, the 17th of August, you can go on to Uplay and download Rayman Origins for free, and free is always good. And I believe that is it for the news.
Alrighty. All right. So here is the official announcement. Like I said, you have to have subscribed to the channel. Just send me some kind of proof of that. And then submit a question, comment, or recipe right this very second. And make me kind of laugh, or make us laugh, or just something that's a genuinely good question. I don't rule that out. Or a recipe. You could do a recipe that knocks our socks off, like, say, your Mountain Dew in a can. And what was it, a pound cake?
If it wasn't, it is now.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was now. Like lemon bar mix or something like that. Who cares? It was a can of Mountain Dew. So, yeah, do that right now in the chat. In the meantime, let's get to some that were sent to us via the Facebook in the Schadenfreude gaming group. See. So, Joseph, power listener, Joseph Petrucciello says, massive Schadenfreude for the Overwatch streamer banned mid-game. And he adds, delightful. I didn't know about this until he mentioned it, and yeah, that was a thing that happened. So that is pretty great. And
was it like midstream?
Yeah.
Was he? Oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
Wah wah. That's what you get for being a fucking cheater.
Yep. So he also passes along this recipe. He calls this pizza stuffed chicken breast. You start with 4 boneless chicken breasts, some fresh mozzarella, pizza sauce. Make your own, he says, or be a heathen and get store-bought nonsense. Pepperoni, of course, olive oil, fresh basil, chopped oregano, salt, and pepper. He says, pound the chicken as flat as possible. Spread the sauce, cover with slices of mozzarella and pepperoni. Add 1 basil leaf. Fold and pin with toothpicks. Brush with olive oil, add a pinch of salt and pepper. Bake at 375 for 30 minutes. Mock the author of the recipe for 15 to 20 minutes. And enjoy.
It's very meta. I like that.
He makes it sound so predictable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that actually sounds quite delicious.
Yeah.
There is no reason to mock this recipe in the slightest. It is concise. It's clear. There are ingredients. There's preparation. It's no can of Mountain Dew spilled into batter.
Spilled.
Well,
that makes it sound like an accident.
I think we've established it probably was. All right. So, and that is it from Facebook. So let's see. We have. All right. Josh Plaxon. He says, you have the power to banish your worst enemy to any video game world. What video game do you banish him to? And let's be gender equal here. Your worst enemy could be a lady. Him or her.
That's true.
Silent Hill.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a fucked up game to get stuck in. I was going to say the underwater level on the Nintendo version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because that's some bullshit. Swimming through that fucking seaweed that you can't actually fit through. God. I don't think I ever finished that game because of that shit. Send them to the beginning of No Man's Sky where they got to push the square button and they're too dumb to realize it.
I think mine might actually be Katamari Damacy. If you're not...
If you're one of the things that gets stuck to the ball.
Right, if you're just a person getting rolled up into that
That's
ball.
good. Yeah, that actually happened, didn't it? When then their arms and legs would flail as they're stuck to your ball as you're rolling around.
Yeah, it's nightmarish. I mean, just imagine being caught up. All you are is just this big mass of humanity and park benches and trash cans and shit rolling around at the whim of some celestial being that you couldn't possibly understand. Yeah, it's nightmare fuel.
What about like Papers, Please? Make him be the guy stamping all the shit.
Yeah, but I don't know. Silent Hill's worse than that.
Yeah.
Because you run the risk of death there. And, you do, I guess, and Papers, Please as well. But spoilers. Yeah. All right. I think those are all good answers. Let's see. What else we got? Doc Shocker. Recipe. Open your craft tab. Take 8 pieces of wood and create a squiggle. You have a treasure chest. It's kind of funny. All right. And that I don't know. We really only had 2. One of them is fairly real. I think the clear winner here has to be the worst enemy quit.
That's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty good stuff.
Okay. So, Josh, I'll tell you what. Send me an email with your email so I can that information in private. Send it to bo@legionpodcasts.com, please. And I'll get that over to you. And if you don't have a PS4, then, don't be greedy, man. Let it go.
I happen to know Josh, and I know that he does have a PS4. And if you can't remember your email address, you can just contact me, and I'll get him his prize. Free copy of No Man's Sky.
All right. Well,
don't contact me.
Yeah, do not. Yeah, that's a good. Don't call Justin.
Yeah, I think we've established that none of us want contact.
Because now he knows that I know you and that you have a PS4, and Justin does not have a PS4, and that might be a problem for you.
Particularly one loaded up with No Man's Sky on it,
That's right, yeah.
All right.
It's all coming together for Justin. You didn't know listening to tonight's episode live would lead to your ultimate demise at the hands of one of the hosts of the show.
But that's the kind of show we run here.
That is true.
All our listeners truly run the risk of becoming the victim of stalking. So, I don't know if that helps or hurts us ultimately. At any rate, guys, thank you very much for tuning in and spending your Wednesday with us. The plan is to do it every other Wednesday. So if you enjoyed it, please come back. And on the social side of things, you can hit us up at stfgaming.com. And from there, you can find links to the iTunes and the Facebook and the Twitch and the YouTubes. So check all that out, all that there. And also, when you're on iTunes, please leave a rating for us and a review. It actually helps the exposure of the show and all that fun stuff. So please do it. We really appreciate it. And as always, we appreciate you listening. So one last piece of business. Gentlemen, what are we going to be playing in the next week?
No Man's Sky.
This is the police and potentially No Man's Sky.
You know you're going to get it.
You're going to play it.
I know it's an eventual, or it's. I mean, yeah, it's gonna happen.
Comes out on Friday, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going camping, so I'm not gonna buy it on Friday because I won't get to play it until Monday.
You should skip camping.
No, that's not.
Yeah.
happening.
Do you want to go camping in the
Stay inside.
the dirty old outdoors, or do you want to go to space?
Both.
All right. Well, take yourself a portable generator.
Yeah, there you
Best
go.
of both worlds.
Problem solved. Yeah.
All right.
You can take
I mean,
some other.
it's gonna be
I
raining,
can take
you're gonna
some
be
other
stuck-
stuff
you're
and get
stuck
to
in a tent.
space.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I as well will be playing No Man's Sky, and I'm gonna keep playing XCOM. I've really been digging on that a lot, so I will probably continue to play that. So we will talk to everyone again in 2 weeks. Thanks again for listening, and good night.
Night.
Nate.
Night.
All right.
Night.
Yeah, guys. Again, on the YouTube channel, thanks so much for hanging out with us for so long. We actually did run a little long tonight, so sorry about that. And also, thank you for continuing to stay with us. And yeah, Josh, give me that info, and I will send you the code right along. So, all right. Let me get to how I manage all this stuff, and I seem to do that to stop the stream.
We're stuck here forever. This is the video game that we send our enemies to. It's called streaming this fucking show.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. All right, we're almost stopped, and then we'll do all our other stuff.